Hello, and hello. It's that was a terrible opening, wasn't it?
Yeah, all right, Mr. Meat.
Hello, yeah.
You know what? Because it's
I'm
like
just going to freestyle this now.
it's just that's just
Hello.
my you know what I'm like. I'm an idiot. Anyway, no, it's not my intro. It's Chris's. What?
It isn't exactly.
Yeah,
Chris was all built up then, and you just absolutely ruined it with your cheery disposition.
Michael's
How
here,
dare
Graham's here. Welcome to Azure Empire.
Yeah.
This is year 4 of episode 9. Yeah. No,
What are we doing? What the heck are we doing
we're
this
going
evening?
to talk about Space Wolves.
I know, right? This is
no.
this is a challenge.
This is going to be exciting. Ladies and gentlemen, the question this evening is going to be, how many section intros can Mr. B crash during this intro?
Yeah,
this episode?
absolutely.
Answers on a postcard in advance.
There'll
be like a betting
I
scandal.
absolutely cannot believe I did that.
That's nice.
Yeah, it was good.
It was good. It's jolly. You know, that's what we like.
Yeah. So Space Wolves then. That's the plan for tonight.
Space Wolves.
Yeah.
Okay, I know I said I wouldn't do this, but Graham, have you got any medication you need to have?
I'm fine, thank you. I've taken everything I need to prepare for this.
Because we know how you feel about this Legion.
Well, this is a funny thing, right? Because as always, whenever we kind of do, I've got a theory about Space Wolves. So as mentioned on previous episodes, they are literally the Legion that I despise the most. But I think it's because I've had bad experiences with people who've played Space Wolves in the past. And I think that's what's kind of put me off them.
Rob.
Whereas
I'm joking, we love Rob. We love Rob.
Whereas other people who have been playing Space Wolves and I've played against Space Wolves more recently are nice people, you know. So I'm talking about Paul Shaw and Paul Briggs, both play Space Wolves. And they're really good.
Paul Shaw plays Space Wolves?
Yeah.
Actually, to be fair, what army doesn't he play?
Exactly. He's got every army in the sun, but I think he's always been a Space Wolves player.
His Lehman Russ has certainly killed Sangreas at least once.
I kind of want to get him on the show at some point to talk about how do you manage having so many different armies.
He's always got something on the go. So anyway, that might be it, right? You know, there may be a bit of residual goings on there, but that the Space Wolves rules themselves don't particularly make me happy about that. However, having said that, when I was doing this list and thinking about things, I realised that there is actually traitor Space Wolves.
Yes.
Which I thought, that's pretty cool. That makes them slightly a bit more human. But also,
I think we have I've
watched a few Viking things recently as well, and that may have also,
have you seen The Northman?
My view. The Northman, exactly what I was about to say. I watched season 3 of that at the weekend.
No, it's not. It's a film.
Oh, the film with who's in that? Is it Skarsgård?
What's his Skarsgård? One of the Scars. Yeah, and Anna Taylor-Joy.
That is a cool film. Have you watched the series called Norseman, which is very much a parody of?
Yes. It's really, really good.
It's sweet, very funny.
You should. There's another one as well. It's not a Viking, but it's I think it's on Netflix. Lilyhammer. It's like it's got a lot of the same people in that as there is in Northman. It's a gangster played by what's his name, was in the E Street.
Wasn't the guy from The Sopranos in it?
Yeah, Sopranos. He basically plays a gangster who decides to be relocated to New York with not New York, Lilyhammer, with a witness protection program, and sort of takes over the town as its head mafia guy, and it's absolutely hilarious.
Okay, there we go. But anyway, I quite like that. So anyway, I think that's interesting. Anyway, Space Wolves. Let's go for it.
Weirdly, Space Wolves are one of the legions that I've never had an interest in terms of playing them, which is weird because they are.
Weird.
I really like them. The problem has been in Heresy, the community that plays them, and gets really.
They're going to be listening to this episode.
No, I'm going
to.
Look, it's
Graham,
a minority.
We don't care about that. Iron Hands players will happily put out the fact.
It is a minority, but they are very loud, and they're very sort of, you haven't done this right. This isn't right. The colors aren't right. It's not this exact shade of gray. There are a lot of rivet counters when it comes to Space Wolves, and we see that in the reaction to some of their models.
We do. I mean, before I did the Space Wolves, I thought, because I always like to ask this question about a Legion when we do it. It's like, why would somebody want to play Space Wolves? And I was kind of like looking on Reddit and what have you about, asking that, put that question to see what sorts of things there were. And quite a lot of people, I think because people, in the early days of Warhammer 40k, I think Space Wolves were the first Space Marine Legion to have their own codex.
Wasn't that Angels of Death, though? I thought that was
Angels of Death. I think it might have been Space Wolves. Anyway,
I was more of a fantasy player.
On Reddit. And I think that's why it holds a particular appeal for people, because it was, they were always a good Legion. And I think that there's a certain nostalgia attached with them.
I think they were the first Legion to get their own proper book series as well. I think with the Ragnar Blackmane sort of Space Wolf books,
they got a codex in January 1994.
Right.
So
I thought Angels of Death with the the Dark Angels and Blood Angels.
Angels of Death is January 1996.
Ah, okay. There you go.
So yeah, they are the first. Orcs were July that year, 1994.
But they've always been, that kind of a Legion, haven't they? Yes, I think
it seems so much older.
All right. So anyway, all right, listeners, buckle up, because we're going to dive into the wild and stormy world of the Space Wolves, or as they prefer to call them for trademark reasons now, the Vika.
No, they're still the Space Wolves. Just Vilka Fenrika is sort of like what they call themselves.
The Wolves of Fenris is there.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
So they're not, well, as you say, they're not fans of being called Space Wolves, mainly because there are no Wolves on Fenris, allegedly. No, that is not a typo. So yes, there are no Wolves on Fenris, and they kind of mention this a number of times. Which does beg the question why they're called Space Wolves. But anyway, instead, it's a whole bunch of wildly dangerous beasts. Think more giant Pharynxian wolves, less Disney animated film. So, in case you're wondering, no, you're not going to find a pack of friendly, furry companions to pull your sleigh for your next warband cosplay. You're going to find some snarling, throat-ripping, gouging, body blows below the belt type of fella.
Lest we forget that in 40k, they did in fact have a wolf-pulled sleigh. If I remember,
they did have a sleigh, didn't they?
I think it's now. I think it's now been discontinued because they just announced a replacement for it.
Okay.
Thank God.
So anyway, so the Space Wolves are definitely on the brutal side. The Vika Fenrika are a tribe of warriors who are bound by honor, blood, and a little thing called the Canis Helix, which is an ancient genetic mutation that gives them a touch of the old wolf side. And it's a special genetic twist that makes them particularly savage in combat. But it also gives them a sense of loyalty that's so intense, it might as well have been bred into them alongside the sharp-toothed, beastly aggression. But also, doesn't the Canis Helix give them a certain resistance to the pull of chaos?
I don't know about that one.
Somewhere. Yeah,
I know it's like super unstable because, like, back in the old day, they were like, oh, they tried to make successor chapters for them, but yeah, it turns out that Canis Helix is like really bad.
Yeah, I thought that because they don't fall quite so quickly to the lure of chaos, allegedly. There have been documented, or there is in the lore somewhere, a couple of sort of Black Shields. There's a particular Black Shields company that kind of went rogue. But anyway, they're not just for fighting for victory, they're fighting for each other. And that honor sort of holds their packs. They've got that kind of pack mentality, that sort of long house Viking thing. So if that's your deal, these guys are for you. And I think that's a very, they very much lean on the sort of Norse mythology in the way they're portrayed as well. So don't even get started on the Primarch. So Lehman Russ is the Primarch, of course, and he's the walking definition of don't mess with me. We'll obviously go into that in a bit more detail later, but let's just say that if Russ had a catchphrase, it would be something like, You bring the fight, I bring the axe, which I'm sure that's probably very popular in certain bars. So sit tight, grab your mug of mead, because it's Fenris and they like mead, and let's explore the history, honour, and the relentless nature of the Space Wolves again, or Vika Fenrica, as they like to be known.
It took me like 3 weeks to write that.
Very nice.
I think the thing that also going back to like the Space Wolf situation is in 1.0 they got their army list very late in the day because they were in the best of all of the books that were written, the best black books that were written.
So they had to rewrite because it was so well written.
They had to rewrite some elements of, and I think they got thrown in with some of those elements that were perceived to be incorrectly OP, and
they were at the same time as
the Thousand Suns,
Custodes, Sisters of Silence. From what I understand, the thing is, those books were balanced against each other because they were narrative books. So, and to be fair, Custodes did struggle against Space Wolves, etc., etc. Everything in that army was very powerful against each other. I don't know how true that is, or maybe it's just something that someone told me and it's a complete load of nonsense. But everything in that book did seem to be quite OP. But
it did very much.
I think it was designed to play against each other.
9 years of this show, and I'm still getting references into a book that publication for close to 5 years now.
I mean, I still quote the Chaos Space Marines 3.0, which was the best one ever.
3.5 was the best one, wasn't it? 3.5
Demon Prince.
Oh yeah,
3.5 might have been
3.5. Yeah, I think it was.
Yeah, the 3.5 Codex for Chaos was absolutely.
It was amazing. You could basically kit out your own. Your own versions, so you had like your own Slaanesh legions, Khorne legions. Oh, brilliant. Anyway, enough of reminiscing. What about their, why do you think people play this? Do you think it is the Viking thing? Do you think it's nostalgia? Do you think it's the lore of the whole shenanigans? I mean, I never really forgave them for smashing up the Thousand Suns planet.
I think, I've got to be honest, going back.
No, forgiven and Prospero. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I never really have
remember
forgiven
Prospero,
to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I mean, I think, what was the books that Prospero Burns?
Thousand Suns and Prospero Burns.
Yeah, I really felt sorry for them.
And those books are ace books.
They are some of the best heresy books.
And Dan Abnett books?
No, one's great. Is one Graham McNeil and one's Dan Abnett? Because they had to delay the Prospero Burns because Dan Abnett had just been diagnosed with, was it?
Thousand Suns is
epilepsy, and so it really sort of put a hamper on the book. So there was a bit of a gap.
I didn't read Prospero Burns because I hated. By the time I'd finished A Thousand Suns, I literally couldn't bear the thought of reading a book about Space Wolves in a positive context.
Prospero Burns is a nice book.
I really like that book.
Prospero Burns is kind of a nice book, but it also does show that people who write the Warhammer stuff are up there when it comes to academia because some of the references they will pull through and sort of be just throwing this character who relates to an Austrian fella from the 18th century who is pretty irrelevant to most history.
Also, those covers for those two books, absolutely ace with the two armies sort of.
They'd be towards each other. I'd love those as a pair of art, as a matching pieces of artwork somewhere. But I would imagine that there's.
The other thing that I quite like about the Space Wolves is they were the kind of Emperor's go-to for eradicating other legions, weren't they?
Yeah, so they've done it before. That's one of the things.
They did get their behinds handed to them by the the World Eaters.
Did they?
Yeah.
Do they? I'm trying to think. I know
the Night of the Wolf.
Yeah. They do. Yeah, you're right. Actually,
yeah. The Night of the Wolf. They go to say to Angron, stop putting stuff in your guys' heads, and they just go, sort of.
Oh, right. Because isn't that where because in combat doesn't Angron take Lehman Russ. But then Lehman Russ says, yeah, but I've got all my legion around me and you're on your own, mate.
Yeah, pretty much.
Something like that, yeah.
But I like that, that basically, because of the Canis Helix makes them super loyal. But, the Emperor eradicated 2 legions before the heresy, allegedly.
I think it's... We know it's definitely one that they were unleashed upon.
Allegedly.
Second... Oh, no, because I think... I'm pretty sure
it's kind of mentioned, isn't it?
Actively mentioned in one of the books where he goes, we've done it before kind of thing.
Yeah.
I think it's only one that they do from memory. The other
Not
one...
sure about... Yeah, it's still shrouded in mystery, isn't it?
Yeah. I'm pretty sure one.
Kind of the advantage. All right. Should we crack on? And
but I also like... Sorry,
Yeah,
just one more thing what I do like about it is that there is, and we'll probably come on to it, they've got this unit that they can add to other armies, haven't they? Which are like watching for any shenanigans.
It's a detachment now.
Yeah, that's the thing that happens because of the heresy. Something that it didn't exist prior to that.
Yeah.
It comes about because of that. Yeah.
It's a rite of war now.
Yeah.
Oh, right. So you can take some Space Wolves with your army.
Yeah, it's like a rite of war for Space Wolves. It says
people watching on the.
You take this allied pack.
I quite like that. That's quite a cool rule. Anyway, let's talk about rules.
Yeah. Talk about rules. All right. So, Legion rules. This is going to be fun. Legion trait. So here's the deal: your infantry can run, snap fire, and still charge in the same turn. So that's right. Your boys can sprint like they're chasing the last keg of malt, wildly fire their bolters in the way, and then still get stuck into melee at a lot of mobility. And they are basically a pack of frothing wolves. Fast, aggressive, always in the opponent's face. And it makes your jump infantry particularly terrifying. I don't see a lot of them. Assault
squads... Bear in mind that jump infantry can't run.
They can.
They can.
So, can they?
They can, yes. But then normally they can't charge and things like that.
Yeah.
They basically follow the same running rules.
I'm talking at my bottom. I'm sure I was trying to remember what the rules are for running with the jet.
So you can cover a lot of ground. You can that's great. You can share rad grenades with your destroyers while power leaping across the battlefield. They're not subtle. And units that can't run, so heavy subtype, so you've got your boarding shield infantry there, or non-infantry units like cavalry, automata, and primarchs, they get something extra instead. +1 weapon skill when they charge. So yes, even dreadnoughts and boss level characters get sharper claws on the way in, and that extra weapon skill means you're usually hitting on 3s while your opponent is swinging back on a 5. It's very rude.
Nice.
And the spicy part, this is just fun. And when someone explained this to me, I was like, wait, that can't really be possible, is it? That doesn't make sense. Independent characters with boarding shields get the heavy subtype. If they join an infantry unit, that whole infantry unit technically cannot run anymore, which means they all get the +1 weapon skill when charging instead.
Wow. Yep, that's true.
Because Legion jump packs, just very quickly.
Yeah.
Model the Legion Warhawk jump pack may still run if it would normally be able to run. This does not allow units that include any models with the heavy subtype to run. Yeah. When making a run move for a model with activated Legion jump pack, add the initiative characteristic to of the model to 12 to determine how far it may move.
Nice, that's good. I always thought you couldn't for some stupid reason.
Oh, very good. They're quick.
Good to know.
Vehicles get +1 to ram strength. So that's up to a cap of 10, mind. But it's not earth-shattering, but suddenly you've got an AB-14 tank that's smashing into an enemy with strength 8 rams, which is going to paste a fair few multi-wound models with a lucky roll. Aggressive parking with extreme prejudice.
Does a flare shield count towards its armor value for ram?
No, I checked this one because I was thinking the exact same thing you are, Chris.
Just as we were discussing it, it kept popping into my brain. It wasn't a purposeful...
I was thinking the exact
just to point out before other people do, ram only applies to ramming other vehicles.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So they wouldn't be strength 8 multi-wound charges.
Oh, is it not? Oh, okay.
Different thing, I think. If I
is that tank shock? Tank shock.
Tank shocky kind of thing.
Have I misread it?
Which is a leadership check, and
Oh, I've misread it. I do apologise.
But I mean, still,
I'm probably thinking of old edition, aren't I, as well?
I'm not sure, but anyway, I'm pretty sure it's RAM is purely for smashing into other vehicles or buildings.
Fair enough. There you go. Anyway, I'm an idiot sometimes. It happens.
As a sort of base set of rules, super useful, I think.
I mean, I'm going to be perfectly honest. If you're running an assaulty army, it's the best. It's the best Legion trait.
It's not World Eaters, but it's not far off.
I think it's better because you are covering the ground.
Yeah, but there's ways and means of covering ground. If you want just pure melee, charges by World Eaters are absolutely lethal.
I think they're better in the charge, but I think these guys kind of pip it because they can get there without needing, for example, to buy quite so many vehicles. They are fast. They don't necessarily need a vehicle to get them across the tape, to get them entirely where they need to go, if that makes any sense.
Okay, well, I still think World Eaters are the best, have their Legion rules are the best, but these Legion rules are not bad, I would say. I mean, it's just giving you, if you think about it, it's just giving you an extra 4 inches.
It's tier 1.
But it's organised charge as well, remember.
Was it S tier? This is an S tier Legion rule.
I don't think so. I think it's an A tier Legion rule.
Ooh.
I think S tier Legion rules are, I would say, definitely World Eaters.
What the fuck are we doing this tier bollocks?
I'm not doing the tier bollocks.
I hate it on the internet. I
honestly hate it. But I don't do it myself. But if I was going to do it, I'd give these S tiers.
It's just the wankiest of wanky things.
Have you sworn on that?
There's going to be a lot of beeping for this section.
Yeah.
No, a lot of those videos are honestly just pants.
I mean, but it just comes from Japanese RPGs, doesn't it?
I know, but still.
Yeah. Okay, fair enough. I don't listen to enough of people on the internet to.
It's like this whole thing, they're doing the whole tier thing, and it's a bit pants. It's a bit clickbaity. It's just people doing, I think this is this, and it's a bit of a YouTube thing. I don't like it. I don't watch videos like that, but personally, if I have to classify something, I will do it myself, but I won't do it like for a video. If we ever do that, we've sold out.
We have totally.
I also think it tends to, especially in games like this, what it means is you end up with power imbalance of people going, okay, I've got to play this Legion because it's an S tier.
Yes.
And that's always my problem with it.
I think that for most Legions, even if you've not got the best Legion trait or anything like that, you've got something else that'll balance it out, like a unit or a Rite of War.
Unless you're the Iron Hands. Okay.
Or Imperial Fist.
No, Iron Hands have got Graviton guns.
They have everything.
Iron Hands have got Graviton guns.
Yeah,
fair enough. No, we're saying that they are good. I mean, -1 to your strength of all attacks, range attacks can't be sniffed at.
Yeah, I Imperial Fists are definitely one of the more powerful. Okay, right. How about an advanced reaction, Chris?
So, Legion reaction: no prey escapes the wolf. So what happens when you mix hyper aggression with a total lack of chill? Me, when people discuss tiering things on the internet, apparently that's clearly a trigger.
Let's tier World War II tanks.
Yeah, that's it. Matilda 2 every day of the week, closely followed by the Sherman Firefly. Whenever an enemy unit dares to move within 12 inches of units, just moves, not even charges, you get to unleash the Fang and Fury. One of the units that's line of sight can immediately move a number of inches equal to its highest initiative, and then if the enemy is still within 12, you can charge them right there and then. No waiting, no foreplay, just claws out, fangs bared.
It's one of the best. This is one of the best.
Yeah.
And you're always conscious of it when you're playing them. It's like, I don't want to get anywhere near these sons of Russ.
Because that'll be it.
Because it's never forget it.
Yeah.
Super cool thing. It's
just a move within 12. It's not even a shooing attack, which I think is because the Imperial Fists have got a similar kind of rule, but I don't think it's as good as this one.
No.
And some of the World Eaters, which of course doesn't surprise me. Yeah. But move within 12. Isn't it? I think something like you can add your initiative to it, I think, in some of the other units.
I think so.
Actually, I take it back. I think the charges aren't considered disorganized when they do the running as well. The
No.
snapshotting is, but their charges aren't disorganized.
No, they're just normal charges.
Cool. Yeah. Nice. Cool. I think this is a great special reaction and one you want to try and fake your opponent out of as soon as possible.
This is the thing with everything about this army is tooled up to do to punch people in the face. There is
they have a lot of rules that are very. So if you look at the synergy of their rules, everything matches up. So you've got speed in terms of running, so you got to put yourself there, wait for them to come within 12, charge them. The rites of war do the same thing. Their warlord traits do a very similar thing as well. But they've got good synergy between all three of those things, as we'll probably come on to later.
Yeah.
But carry on. Sorry.
No, that's the that's the thing. It's super aggressive, rite of war, and it's not rite of war, advanced reaction.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's like you say. It gives them gives you an element of tabletop control. Because
you can't react to the charge either because it's not it's your turn, not the opponent's turn. So they basically get a free charge without any Overwatch or
it's from the unit as well. It's not from a model.
Yeah.
So if someone's got them spread out, correctly, that's a big chunk that you don't want to actually step into because that whole unit's just going to go right. Let's have a chat with those chaps, shall we?
Yeah, absolutely. Very cool. Okay, I think it's a great advanced reaction. One of the best in the game.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. Okay, well, in
the
terms
warlord traits.
Yeah, they're warlord traits. So we've got the Howl of Morkai. So once per battle, at the start of any turn, your warlord lets loose a Frenzian battle howl, loud enough to shake the teeth out of traitors.
Yep.
For the rest of the turn, the friendly Legion Astartes Space Wolves unit get +1 strength on the charge. That's all of them, the entire army. And yes, it does stack with Fury's charge. And yes, it is as terrifying as it sounds. So you want strength 8 power axes? Sure. How are you getting strength 8 power axes?
+1 Fury's charge, +1 strength.
Yeah, +1. Yeah, you're right.
+2
so it's 7.
No, because power axes are +2 strength, so 6.
No, they're +1 strength.
Power axes +1 strength.
+1. Power mauls +2.
Yeah.
So you can get strength 8 power mauls. But yeah, I'm not sure about strength 8.
Did I get that wrong? Okay, I may have
almost certainly.
Oh.
Yeah. But you want basic chainsaws, ruling on 2+ with rerolls. Knock yourself out because they would be strength 6, I guess, with Furious Charge.
I might be thinking of Fenrisian axes or frost axes.
Maybe.
Because they're strength +1.
They might be strength +2, but they're two-handed. And you want to pair this with a right that already good bonus to strength for charging.
No, Fenrisian axes are just one-handed.
There's a two-handed Greater Frost axe.
Yeah. Great Frostblade is two-handed, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So basically you can then pair this up with a right that already gives bonus to strength for charging. Now you're cooking with full-on Frenzian Fury. So as long as your warlord's still breathing, you get the extra reaction in the movement phase. So that gives you double the chances to use your special advanced reaction to really annoy somebody and ruin their day as you charge 20 Grey Slayers at them.
Yeah.
I mean, it is a once per battle, so it's kind of situational, and it's the sort of thing that I always forget if I have a once per battle thing. But if you can remember when to use it, you can definitely make it a turn to remember. If you can get turn 2 when you've ran all your units right up the grill of your opponent, and then you call this out at the beginning, there's going to be some serious bloodshed.
Yeah.
Very good.
Okay. Hunger of the Void is the next one, and this happens every turn, so this is great. So at the end of any assault phase, if your warlord caused at least 1 wound, he either heals a wound, or he's already topped off, gains +1 strength, +1 attack for the next round of combat, because apparently bloodshed is a power-up. You get an extra assault phase reaction while he's alive, so yeah, that's pretty decent. More chances to fight back. And if you are comboing this up with Great Frostblades and Biomancy, which we'll talk about later, you definitely are getting some Strength 8 AP2 at initiative in the second round.
I think this is just it's super warlord trait.
Yeah. The only thing is, it's not going to help much against anyone swinging strength 8 weapons at you, so that's pretty much everyone worth fighting. But, this is like anime rage mode mid-fight. I love it.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty good. I mean, I suppose...
Pretty good?
Yeah, I'm not... Because it's one model. It's your warlord.
But it's one model for the entirety of the game. It's not one...
Absolutely. I don't disagree with that. But it's, if he... I kind of think the better warlord traits are ones that have a greater effect than one model, personally. But it's still a good warlord trait.
I think the thing for me is Slay the Warlord is a victory point.
Slay the Warlord is a victory point. I mean, you're going to be...
And if you've got a Warlord going around yep, it's not even challenges. It's just he causes a wound.
Yeah.
And he gets a wound back. It just makes him so much harder to kill unless he gets instant death.
I mean, yeah, you want to put him with a squad of chosen warriors so he doesn't get challenged out, but yes. Yeah.
All I'm saying is, if I came across this in my solar auxilia, I'd be like, "Yep, okay, just do whatever you want, because that's going to happen." Even with anything, you can just look at my guys and they'll die, and you'll get this.
I just assume with sniper rifles myself, but yes. What about the next one then? So yeah, it is good, but again, I kind of prefer things that buff more than one model.
That's fair enough.
That's just me. Chris, go over to you.
And then we have Crownbreaker. The Warlord and the unit he joins gain preferred enemy independent characters. So rerolling one to hit and to wound, and a 5-up feel no pain when fighting said heroes, and extra movement phase reaction while your Warlord is still breathing.
Yeah. See, I think this is a great one because preferred enemy and independent character applies to the squad where the independent character is in. I think there's been a lot of debate about this.
Mm.
But if you're going up against, a squad with a warlord in or a centurion in, they get to reroll ones, which I think is really cool.
Yep. I like this.
Preferred enemy is the whole. Again, I'm not sure where I've seen this argued, but I saw it argued quite convincingly that basically, if you have an independent character in the other unit, the whole squad gets that rerolled because they're fighting a squad with independent characters in. I'll have a quick look at preferred enemy and just double check.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, that seems like a touch of a reach from a sort of a.
Yeah, I'll just double check the rule. But I remember reading it because I felt like it was like that can't be right, but actually, it kind of is.
See, this is what we need FAQs for.
Will definitely be telling us about how they proved this out in the past.
The only thing that
might be one of the FAQs.
Did I think about this thing is it's only against independent characters. So it's only HQs, models. That's pretty much it in terms of.
Yeah, I mean, it's
Primarchs count as independent characters.
Yeah,
that's kind of so. Doesn't offer you a huge array of, and people can maneuver around that potentially, which is why I tend to think Hunger for the Void, because it's more general in terms of its bonus. So it doesn't affect the squad.
I mean, if I'm perfectly honest, there's not really a terrible one amongst them. I think
they're all.
I think they're all pretty decent. The thing is with Warlord traits, I always forget I can pick them.
Yeah.
I always forget I can pick them. I am so used to not being able to pick them, and it's years of literally ingrained. You roll for your Warlord trait, and I still feel like I should do it. It's been 3 years, and I can still not get over that hump of, I don't need to select my Warlord trait. Oh, it'll get picked for me on the day.
No, I always, I'm fully on board with it. So just to, it actually says this in the preferred enemy rules. So if a model with this rule makes an attack against a mixed unit, which has one-on-one models to which their preferred enemy rule pertains, but it's not entirely composed of such models, it may still benefit from the effects of preferred enemy for all attacks made against that unit. For example, a model with preferred enemy independent characters may re-roll all failed to hit and to wound rolls of 1 against all of the models in the unit, which has been joined by an independent character.
Okay.
So, yeah. But you're right, insofar as you would only be going up against other big hitting squads most of the time. I don't think there are many independent characters outside of the HQ. There might be some in elites, maybe some weird name characters, but I don't think so because independent characters made them. You can join
most of the named characters are HQs anyway. I don't know. I can't think of any off the top of my head.
Yeah. So I think everything else is just character.
Yeah. All right.
So I see your point, but if you wanted to, definitely. I mean, I think the 5+ bit of pain as well. It would be a good squad to kind of smash up against Death Stars if you sufficiently power.
All right. Okay, so moving on to I guess wargear. So Graeme, do you want to take us through the basic Fenrisian axe?
Yeah. So any space model can swap the chainsword for Fenrisian axe. So you lose shred, but you gain +1 strength and reaping blow 1. So reaping blow is if you're in base contact
with more than one model, you get an extra attack. It used to be in the old edition, and it was absolutely fantastic for Death Guard. It was an extra attack for every model you were in base contact with. So,
+1 strength as opposed to shred. I'd probably take that because they become a bit like chain axes, but actually better with friends with reaping blow. I mean, it's not always possible to get a model into base to base, but even so, wounding on 3s, maybe if you're doing some other crazy stuff, might even be 2s. So I think that's a pretty good upgrade, to be honest with you. Given the choice between the two, I would take that.
Yeah, absolutely. Would absolutely take that for everything.
Yeah.
All right, I've got a big section here. Frostblades. So these are any independent character with a Legionary Society Space Wolves rule, which obviously that should be for everything, can swap a power weapon for a frost sword, axe, or claw for 5 points, or a great frostblade for 10 points. And some squads even have access to multiple of them, but these special rules don't stack, so you're not doubling up or reaping blow with multiple frost weapons. So it's cool, but not that cool. So we have the frost sword, first of all. +1 strength, AP3, specialist weapon, reaping blow. I think this is hard to justify in characters because you don't get rending 6+. It doesn't pair well with other weepings. Reaping blow, it's not much more than a power sword is going to do anyway. And it underperforms compared to, say, the frost claw, since shred is often better than +1 strength. That's just I wouldn't take a frost sword. I think there are better weapons out there. And I think the Frost Claw is one of those, because you've got Strength User, AP3, and I think Shred is better than +1 Strength. That's my personal opinion, obviously.
I mean, the same as Lightning Claws, like they're a worse Lightning Claw.
Yeah, it's a worse Lightning Claw. It doesn't get your rendering 6+. It doesn't stack up with other specialist weapons, because it is a specialist weapon, and it's got Reaping Blow. And it basically gets bumped up to what a Lightning Claw can already do with its extra attack. The Frost Claw and the Frost Sword are basically the same thing, in my personal opinion, depending on your buffs. But I think if you look sorry, go on.
I guess the argument kind of falls on whether you think +1 strength is better than Shred.
I think Shred beats +1 strength for wounding. That's my personal opinion. I take the reroll over the +1 strength. That's just me.
The +1 strength. I wouldn't. I would take +1 strength, weirdly.
I mean,
because
in a vacuum,
it means you can hit a dreadnought.
Yeah.
It depends. Still 6s actually, so it's probably neither here nor there. But you can hit a Leviathan, which you can't do with a normal.
I mean,
power sword.
It's in a vacuum.
If you're trying to hit a Leviathan with a
I mean, things are
with a frost weapon at that point,
But
don't.
Normal Lightning Claws could still do a Leviathan because a 6 is always a wound.
Yeah. I mean, it's in a vacuum. We're looking at this in a vacuum. It basically depends on what buffs your characters are getting from other stuff in the list. So I think that's where you've got to be careful with any of these weapons, because there are a lot of buffs and stuff available to the various squads.
Again, and it's only independent characters, so it's not like sergeants, just your sergeants. It's your consoles, your praetors.
Well, I think some units can take Frostblades and stuff, can't they?
Yeah, some units can. Yeah. I'd also say, I think it's got an edge over the Lightning Claw if you're not pairing them, because if you combine it with, say, a Power Fist or a Thunder Hammer, that's an extra 2 attacks.
It's an extra 1 attack, but
Is it 1 attack? Why have I done these notes so badly this time?
But yeah,
okay.
I mean, that's what I was thinking about the frost sword, maybe playing.
Oh no, reaping blow. Reaping blow.
Reaping blow. Okay, yeah.
So plus 2. That's where I got that from.
Whether if you've got a paragon blade, for example, and you could take a frost sword, which is a specialist weapon, and get an extra attack. But then you could probably, because there aren't any in the power weapons section, none of them are specialist weapons.
Yeah,
see what I mean. So that would actually be a way to get an extra attack for 5 points, which is no bad thing.
We've also got the frost axe, strength +1, AP 2, specialist weapon, unwieldy with a reaping blow. I think this is a better choice.
That would take that every time.
Yeah, it's no less effective than the others than a power axe. It's unwieldy, which does sting. It's still a specialist weapon, so you get the extra attack when paired properly. So if you're going to take a frost axe, take a paragon blade or a power fist, and you are going to dish out the pain without compromising the damage output. I would take a frost axe and a power fist personally, because you've got it's 2 different things there. Then we've got the great.
The problem with that combo is that you're at initiative 1 for all of that.
That is true. But it depends. So, are you attacking with the power fist or are you attacking with the frost axe?
It's still unwieldy and still initiative 1.
Oh yeah, unwieldy. Cool.
Unwieldy, Mr. B.
Unwieldy. Forget that.
The ruin of all good weapons.
Fair enough.
I mean, basically, there's only one choice, and it's this one. So the next one is the great frost blade.
Strength +2, AP 2, reaping blow 1, 2-handed. We are talking AP 2 at initiative, the gold standard. Only the paragon blade rivals it. It's 2-handed.
Who's that on the phone? Oh, it's the Ultramarines with their legatine axe.
All right, I'm talking in this list, the in the Space Wolves list.
And then you take more of the legatine axe.
Again, it's 2-handed, no awkward pairing required. Reaping blow 1 still gives you the extra attack, and that's great for Terminators because they can't take a second weapon.
They cannot. That's true.
Paragon blade.
Than a paragon blade.
Unlike the paragon blade, you slap this on your consoles. It turns them into dueling machines that can take on anyone weaker than a Terminator Sergeant. And you can still access other console perks. So rad grenades, great frost blades, AP 2, instant death on initiative.
I think paragon blades are the most overpriced thing. Overcosted things.
So what, 30-odd points for a paragon blade?
Depends who's taking it.
Yeah.
So on a Freighter, it's 15 points.
It's not. I mean,
it's on Terminator, it's 15 points. But I think on a normal,
on a champion, it's pretty good.
Champion is good.
But then you're paying the cost of it in the.
You're paying the cost of it in the thing. All right, so what was I saying? I think these are really nasty if you pair him up with a Moritat or a Speaker of the Dead. Give a Moritat a great Frostblade. I think that's going to be great. But obviously, you can't necessarily expect to charge after chain fire.
Yeah. But I think a great Frostblade, anything that's initiative AP2.
Yeah.
But also +2 strength means you're going to be doing that on. And I say that's a great combo if you can get rad grenades in the mix, because you're then you don't have to worry about missing out on the Paragon Blades instant death on a 6 because
that's what I'm saying.
You will be doing it on your normal wounds.
If you're taking a Moritat, pop it on there. He's got his rad grenades. He's going to do his chain fire. That's going to take out a fair few wounds. Charge in with a great frost axe.
I'm trying to think what other console types would take rad grenades, but there are some.
Other things. The Forge Lord?
Forge Lord, maybe.
Because the Siege Breaker? No.
The Siege Breaker takes phosphorus grenades, doesn't he?
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
Could be wrong.
Forge Lord is anyway. Is it the Forge Lord? I'm probably making it up in my head. Yeah. Okay. Right. And now,
so I think that in terms of their armory, I think the Forensian axes, I would take those. I personally think losing shred on the chain axes, I'd rather have +1 strength because I'm hitting on 3s.
As a basic weapon, I think the Forensian axe is absolutely phenomenal.
And I think the Greater Frost axe blade thing, whatever it is absolutely baller.
Yeah. Again, I wouldn't dismiss any of the others, but again, you've got to look at them with your buffs and whatever character stuff you're taking. In a vacuum, the Great Frost Blade is significantly better.
Okay.
The Greater Frost Axe, Graham. I can find no reference of such a thing.
It's a Great Frost Blade. It's a Great Frost Blade. Basically, a Great Frost Blade isn't...
I think they're just modelled as axes, I think.
No, you can have it.
Maybe.
It's like a Paragon Blade. A Paragon Blade isn't necessarily a sword. It's whatever is, it is.
A bladed weapon.
it doesn't even have to be bladed because they said, it can be a mace, it can be a spear. It's just whatever you model it as. It's a paragon blade.
I mean, a spear I can get because it's got a cutting edge, but I'm pushing it.
Blade's got to be. It's got to have some sharp edge to it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's. I mean, again, it's just modeling, isn't it?
Okay.
But all right. I get your point.
So, what's next? Ether Rune Armor, Chris.
Ether Rune Armor. Any independent character in Legion Astartes Space Wolves can swap the Artificer Armor for Ether Rune Armor, gaining +1 wound and Adamantium Will 4+ for 25 points.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm alright, thanks.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah. Walk on by.
I mean, an extra wound is nice, but yeah.
Yeah, I'm okay, thanks.
You could, for 15 points, you can just take you can just have Cataphractii armor, better wound boost, loose sweeping advance, but
take Tartarus.
It's not necessarily. I don't know. It's an option
if you've got points to burn. Yes.
But whoever has 25 points to burn in a
and plus somebody tickles you with a power fist. It doesn't matter how many wounds you got.
It's thematic, but it's thematic, but it's not necessarily what I would take. But I think I did take it in this list just because I thought, why not?
It's if you're in a campaign and there are 1,000 suns and there are demons or word bearers, then you might put it on a couple of guys to keep them. But the problem with a lot of this war gear is it's so locked into a very small amount of people that can take it. It's all an independent character. And it just makes it so tight for it to be of use throughout the army that I think
that's what the Fenrisian axe is for.
No, I know, but I think for the war gear options, when you look at most of the other ones, at least more than 2 single models in the army are going to make use of them.
Yeah, I mean, I think people that some of those frost blades and stuff are in some of the specialist units, I think, if memory serves. But yeah, the Ether Rune Armor, I would give it a miss. It's like I say, somebody hits you with a thunder hammer, which they will. You've got to make 2 invulnerable saves. It's not 4 wounds isn't going to help you massively. Or 3 wounds.
No.
Like I say, for the less money, you can get a better. You can get with Cataphractii.
Psychers aren't as prevalent to make Adamantium Will a.
You're right, actually.
Must include. There are.
Yeah.
I tell you what, Games Workshop, if you made
can't even remember the rules for it, to be honest with you.
If you made a plastic librarian, I bet you that these would become more useful.
Don't know, because you've got that thing of the law, out sort of restricts how many psychers there are, because you've got the Nikeia. So Imperial Fist players realistically aren't going to probably take them unless they're really going for it. Most of the legions aren't really going to take them because the law says to people they're not around that much. It's I think that's one of the reasons. Also, psychic powers aren't all that.
I mean, it does give you a 2+ invuln against. So what's his Adamantium Will?
So you get vulnerable save against any wound affected by a weapon with the force or psychic special rules.
Oh yeah, so he gets a 4+ invuln against psychic stuff, but he's got a 4+ invuln against.
Yeah, exactly.
So, seeing as we're speaking about psychic stuff, how about Graham tells us about something interesting?
Well, I could try that. So psychic discipline that they can have. So this is basically linked to the specialist psyker, isn't it?
Is he a psyker?
So you've got wins. Well, he is a psyker, and regardless. In fact, I think they even call him a psyker in the rules. So, to choke on that, we have no psychers, honest government. We just like to throw runes around, and lo and behold, something magical happens out of the backside of one of the Wolves of Fenris.
Yeah,
I don't buy it. So anyway, talking about the backside of the Wolves of Fenris, we've got Wrath of the Death Wolf. It's a heavy flamer-like weapon, so this is the sort of weapon thing. with Deflagate and Force. So you can scorch enemies and trigger Force for a Strength 10 Incineration.
I get a 4+ vulnerable save against that if I've got
you do, yeah.
Marine armor.
Turning any wounds into Strength 10 death, instant death. Very good against corrupted or demons. Great against demons. Just keep in mind it's AP4, so it's going to do much less against those mods. So you're kind of getting it, but really, unless you're going against those particular types of things, it's not going to be super useful.
Mm-hmm.
The other one is Stormwrought. So basically, the sort of non-weapon side of this, instead of shooting one infantry, cavalry, or dread unit within 6 inches, gains Shroud 5+. Pass a psychic test though, and it becomes Shrouded 3+. Now that is cool.
No.
So this is a lifesaver for your shooter units, letting them survive attacks and reactions, and it even keeps your melee units safe from Overwatch. Oh, and it works during the opponent's turn too. Perfect for keeping your squad intact while your enemy tries to shoot them to pieces. Super useful, this one.
Yeah.
So basically, like you say, you can just whack it on your Deathsworn, Bob Janice, or you can put it on that Leviathan Dreadnought, and then suddenly he's got 3+ in Shroud save as well as a 5+ in one.
Yeah.
So yeah, making it seriously tough. So yeah, I think that's one of the best psychic powers there is, actually. I mean, bear in mind it is a cover save, so things that ignore cover, for example, Cognos Signum, will just bypass it. But yeah, pretty cool.
Super cool.
Yeah, it's not. It's not to be sniffed at. I don't think.
No.
Either of those psychic powers.
I think that it's a great psychic power, worth the entrance fee.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, what's next?
Rites of War. Rites of War. Now these are always interesting. Now the Space Wolves have 3 Rites of War, which is not. Oh well, I suppose it is more common these days for legions to have more than 1 Rite of War, isn't it? Sorry, more than 2, as I used to say. They've got 3. Now, the first one, the Black Watch, the one I'm going to go through, is a loyalist-only rite that embodies the Space Wolves' job description. Hunt traitor Primarchs like it's a sport. But you can only take this as an ally detachment. So unless you're feeling spendy with a Praetor, I think this one is you're going to generally be taking a Delegatius or Delegatus, whatever.
Yeah.
You get hatred traitors for everyone all the time because grudges are quite pretty motivating. You get preferred enemy Primarch for the whole detachment because these guys are there specifically to kill that boss monster. They are fearless when fighting a traitor Primarch. So family drama, they're not backing down from that. And you get a 2+ charge distance when charging a traitor Primarch. So you can leap that final distance yelling for dad.
Very good.
That's what it's for, really, isn't it? I'm trying to insert some humor in these notes.
I love it. Genuinely.
The catch, however, is no vehicles, no Primarchs, just infantry, dreadnoughts, and maybe a few rapiers. No dedicated transport, so you need to plan carefully. Your power armor dudes have to hoof it fine. Heavy Terminators, they're going to struggle with this one. And yeah, loyalist only. You're not subtle, you're here to execute. The beauty of this is your primary detachment can be anything. So you can go for a gunline Ultramarines army or a tank happy armored spearhead. This is thematic spice. Send in the wolves to kill the traitor king while the rest of the army holds the line.
It's a nice way to add Space Wolves to your army. I'll give it that.
Mm-hmm. I'm not going to lie. I want to do Space Wolves at some point, and this is probably how I'm going to do it.
I mean, I'd probably take a load of Assault Marines.
Yep,
and that's one. But you'd need one big hitty squad, and the problem is getting that one big hitty squad up the road, isn't it? Because you haven't got any vehicles, so you can't take a Spartan. So you're out of luck on that one. I mean, you could pull a Chris here and deep strike them if you were feeling particularly crazy.
I don't know how you could though.
Take assault squads.
Shot to death.
Take assault squads. You can have 2 assault squads here.
Oh yeah, do it. Sorry, I just on the jump packs.
That's what I would do.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
Look, it's not going to win any. It's not going to win many games.
You have to take Delegatus to get the Rite of War, right? Unless you take a Praetor.
I'd take a Delegatus, 2 assault squads, maybe probably a what do you call them? The destroyer squads. No, you know the ones with the. I've forgotten the name of them now.
The spoilers?
No, the ones with the rag grenades. Is it the? Destroyer. Yeah, they are destroyers. Yeah,
Devastators.
No, destroyers. Yeah, I take a squad of destroyers, 2 big squads of assault marines, tool them up, and yeah, I go for that.
It's a huge chunk of
points.
That's the only problem.
Yeah. Okay. No, I'm gonna go with that. Yes, it's gonna be a huge chunk of points, but the point is, I would use this right to like start the army and start playing it right away, or if I just fancied it.
I mean, the thing is, the only thing that's actually going to be any useful is hatred traitors.
Yeah.
And you might as well just get a chaplain and put it in your primary detachment and off you go for the same kind of thing. But that's everybody in the army. So that is actually really useful.
Wouldn't be taking this to win games. I'd be taking this to have fun.
Fun, yeah. It's the themey thing. I'll give you that. Nice.
I think it's great.
Okay.
All right.
So you can still take... Just hang on a second. Let me just quickly before I... So a detachment of this right form may not include any mods of the vehicle or Primarch unit type.
Yeah.
So is that the allied detachment?
The allied.
Yeah.
So you can't take an allied detachment as a allied. You can't take a Primarch and an allied detachment anyway.
That's true.
So that's...
Can't you?
Nope.
No, that's
part of the
Lord of War. Yeah, Lord of War.
They are...
It's weird that it mentions no Primarchs as the thing then. Okay.
Yeah. I was just thinking it, but yeah, the primary detachment, that's where the arm for Primarch comes off of. It doesn't.
Allied detachment. Allied detachment. Yeah, agreed.
No.
Okay, cool.
That's great. Yeah, I think it's super cool. I think it's a fun thing, but yeah, I think it could very easily become a small addition to your army to an absolute point sink.
Yeah, I mean, you could take a Storm Eagle, just thinking about it. Storm Eagle.
No, it's a vehicle.
Interesting.
Vehicle.
Oh, crikey. Yeah, you're right. No vehicles. It's still a vehicle. It's a flyer, but it's still a vehicle.
As I said, if I do this in the next year or so, it'll be a small, maybe a 1 or 2 assault squads, tool them up, a delegatus, and destroyers, and that's it.
Yes, yeah. I don't know. I mean, what about Cataphractii Terminators? They'd be quite good.
Nope, because they can't deep strike, and they're absolutely slow us out, and they've got no transport.
They can run. Not Cataphractii.
Tartarus. Maybe Tartarus, yeah.
They can run.
What about Indomitus Terminators? Because I'm pretty sure they are a troops choice.
I think they are.
But they're a non-compulsory troops choice.
Yeah, you still need that compulsory, so you still need an assault squad or a tactical squad or whatever.
But you would need something. You need a squad.
Well, Grace Layers
can take on a Primarch, right? Which there aren't that many.
No,
and they have to do it on their own. So you can't tool up the Delegatus massively. So I wonder whether a Praetor with the old Thunderhammer Paragon Blade combo, and sort of tool him up to what you can ever throw at him, and then maybe put him in Tartarus Terminator armor or or like what's the other Terminators? The Indomitus.
But you can't take Indomitus for independent characters.
Gotcha. But you could put him in Cataphractii, couldn't he?
Yeah, and he'd have his 4 up and vulnerable save.
Yeah, the only problem is, as I said, getting him where it needs to be. But then again, I mean, as I said,
running them. I mean, that's the whole point of the Space Wolves, isn't it?
This is thematic and fun.
It's doable. It's interesting, I think. Yeah. You can make something quite cool there.
I was almost going to do this as my list challenge, but then I thought, that would be a bit controversial because it wouldn't be a Space Wolves army.
Haven't we banned allies as being in a list challenge after last month's business? Right, I'm going to make sure that's codified.
I think it depends on what the actual aim of the army is. I think we sort of said it. If it depends on. I think this would have been all right because it is literally their right of war, but
depends on whether I raise it as an objection or not.
That's what it depends. Yeah, all right, Donald. Give me a presidential whatever they are decreed.
I'll be sending Elon Musk to defund you any minute.
Oh, yeah, so you'll get the same response. I think I think that rule limits you in certain ways of how you could interpret things like salamanders with iron hands and stuff like that.
I mean, that'd be a specific list. But anyway, let's not argue about that on air. Let's argue about it in our normal Thunderdome. in the car park of.
It's very difficult to get Tina Turner's
Age of Empire Towers.
Give us the rights anymore.
This is where we need to find some cheap musician who'll work for I don't know, something.
Likes.
Yeah, likes. I don't want which is actually a really horrible thing to say because musicians are artists and deserve to get paid.
Absolutely, 100%. Okay, cool. So let's go on to the next one.
We made up.
I've now got. We don't need another hero going through my head.
That's it. I'm just going to hum it gently under the entirety of this recording.
I was giving because I saw Furiosa recently, and I was like, I should really watch Mad Max.
I think the first one is hard. It's good, but it's not great. I think the second one is amazing. Third one's not bad, but not as good as the second one. Anyway, go, Chris.
It's all about me. Right. The Bloodied Claw. This isn't a rite of war, it's a battlefield tantrum. Once per game, you flip the table and unleash pure frothing murder across your space wolves. It's not subtle, it's not elegant, it's one glorious turn of absolute going berserk. You get, for one game turn only, Fleet 2, Furious Charge 1, Stubborn or Fearless if you already have Stubborn, +1 to combat resolution.
Yep.
You get it until the end of your next turn, so even you receive it during your opponent's turn.
Yeah.
Your advanced reaction counts as charging, so you'll trigger the Furious Charge, and if you combine it with the Howl of Morkai or Side of the Space Wolves, you're now dishing out instant death with Strength 2 weapons, Great Frostblades, Heavy Chainswords. It's a lot of fun, but you have to charge. You don't get a choice. It's in the world.
I've never thought that was a massive downside.
The problem always in that scenario is you're not. It gives your opponent an opportunity to.
But I mean, I've played against players. I won't mention any names who will shoot their bolters at a target that's further away. And they then can't charge, which I think is, well, I shall keep my feelings to myself on that particular. It's like using a withdrawal reaction when you're playing World Eaters. It just, Yep. But anyway, I've managed to upset all the World Eaters.
To be fair, though, you get to choose when you do it.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah,
it's super cool. The fact that it lasts over your turn and your opponent's next turn as well. I think it's like a turn. If you run your army up the board and then do this turn 2, you're going to make a proper dent. Yeah.
So yeah, very cool. I mean, it's almost basically. I mean, even with, and then you can, bear in mind, you can move, Snapfire, and run and still charge. You're going to be in somebody's face.
Oh yeah,
right. And then you're going to put Furious Charge into the mix. Yeah, it's going to be bloody. I'll give it that. But yeah, very cool. Okay,
it's not subtle.
It's just a beast of an. It's just a beast of a rite of war.
Yeah,
for that.
Okay,
punch, that one inch punch.
Yeah. So the next one is the Pale Hunters. So this rite is all about mobility, sneaky flanks, woman with a sneaky flank, and refusing to stay pinned down. Think of it as the 6th Legion's version of hit and run tactics. If those tactics also involves axes, plats, and screaming. So what you get is Grey Slayers and Grey Stalkers get hit and run. So they can bail from combat, reposition, and possibly charge again. No, they don't have to go the full distance, but it's fun when they do. Units arriving via flanking assault gain Fleet 2, Rage 2 that turn. So they show up angry fast and very stabby. You're required to use at least 1 unit this way. So, and up to 3 units of infantry or cavalry get outflanked for free. Use it on your chunky troops to get the most out of Rage 2. More bodies, more swings, more carnage.
Yep.
Flanking assault is literally an invite to be shot to death.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
The way the rules are now, there's no. You have to basically say, "I'm coming in here. Here's my marker."
Yeah.
So and that's before deployment.
Yeah. I mean, any of those ways that create an element of surprise to deployment zones. Unfortunately, in this edition, and I'm not hungering for a 3.0, but when it does come, I think someone needs to sit them down and go, deep strike, outflanking. You understand militarily what the point of these things are, yeah?
Yeah.
The idea of a deep strike is you don't tell the enemy where you're going. The idea of an outflank is you've outflanked them. You know?
It's the clues in the title.
Yeah. Not just going to turn up over there 20 minutes.
It's not just, yeah. So I think that's, so with those two things in mind, the only thing that's actually kind of useful there is the hit and run on the Grey Stalkers and the Grey Slayers. The rest of it requires you to outflank stuff. And if you know where they're coming in, you will just deploy accordingly if you've got any sense. So, I mean, you can do all sorts of horrible things with outflanking, like line up your troops so they can't go through you in that classic White Scars thing. So, I mean, so anyway, on the other side of that, if there aren't any limitations, there are even more now, which is you only get one heavy support slot. So sad for Leviathans and Derridaeos, but nothing stops you fielding a super heavy if you're bringing Russ or a Knight or something.
You're not really going to, I mean, you've got one heavy support slot. When if you're a Space Wolves player, take multiples in a Talon, they still operate independently. Are you... I mean, you might want to bring a big gun, I suppose, but you're not going to be thinking, oh, I want,
The strength of the army isn't in shooting, right?
Yeah. You might want some just...
You might want to do something.
Yeah.
Just like a 10-man Lascan squad.
Yeah, that's what I said. 10-man Lascan squad.
They used to have long fangs, didn't they, back in
40K? They do,
yeah. So it wouldn't be completely out of theme to have 10-man Lascan squad. But the other side of this is one unit must arrive via flanking assault. Mr. B says it's not really a downside. We both disagree that it's a very big downside.
Outflank, deep strike, underground assault, whatever it is.
Subterranean assault.
At least deep strike, there's an element of surprise, i.e. where am I going to actually... But it's not like before you deploy, you say, I'm going to deep strike here, so please deploy accordingly.
Yeah.
I think outflank is too broken.
Yeah.
I think what I would do with outflank is say you can't charge from it, but you choose. We've got more flexibility as to where they come in and which side.
So what I'm saying is Games Workshop need to hire us to do all the FAQs and rules rewrites and.
I don't think so.
No, it is. I think is I just need to.
You're not prepared for that kind of anger from the people.
Oh, I don't give two
hoots
what people think. I just think that I think they took things from competitive wargaming and thought, this will work.
I mean, they balanced the fact that you can charge with the fact that you can intercept. So that's like rock, paper, shotgun kind of thing. But so I can understand why they've done it, because otherwise it would, and we already, in the event that Mike was running, it said, right, you can have only 3 interceptor reactions.
Yep.
As a maximum.
I'm trying
Somebody said, right, I'm just going to bring a deep strike in. Well, not somebody.
Well,
somebody who plays a lot of powerful gaming things.
Gareth, we love you, Gareth, but you're a power gamer.
If that was me, I'd just bring all of deep strike, because now I can just deep strike with impunity, which is right. It absolutely can. And so whatever thread you put on this, it doesn't seem to lead to a great conclusion.
The thing is, it's not necessarily deep striking armies. It's things that are arriving from reserve into deep strike, like your like assault squads. Like, I think that the current unlimited interceptor is having the detrimental effect of actually stifling army choices. Absolutely. And it's suddenly, I'm not going to take a flyer, which might be really cool, Or, I mean, for the event we're going to this weekend, Graham, a lot of people are like, well, a lot of people on the loyalist side were like, yeah, I'm going to take an air cavalry ultramarines. I was originally going to do that. And then it's like, oh, wait a minute, I'm going to be having very quick games because interceptor with las cannons, I'm buggered.
Totally.
It's prevalence of the augury scanner is the big problem. But anyway, that's a conversation that we've had 1,000 times.
We have, and
we'll continue to have
my opinion, and I have tried to balance it, but you can't win because someone will always say, "Well, this isn't balanced."
Somebody will find a hole.
Someone will find a hole, and I think the hard thing is you've still got to try because we've got to make this fun for everybody, and I want to see different army choices at events.
I don't disagree. Very cool.
Yes,
okay,
tell us about the inducti.
The inducti. Okay, we're moving on to the units. The inducti. I think these are the best inducti in the game. They're better than the Dark Angels, which are really good, but these are better because you don't have limits on how you can take them. They're a bunch of angry teenagers from Fenris. They just crammed them into power armor. They didn't even get to finish their Wolfie Boy Scout badges in tactical awareness. That's what you're getting here. Frothing berserkers in training wheels. They're what happens when you take the spoiler squads, run them for a crash course in charge first, ask questions later. Now, you lose Heart of the Legion, so no more of that smug resilience. But they do gain Headstrong, which lets them declare a charge with 2+ range, still capped at 12-inch, so you're not getting a 14-inch charge, but you become disordered. So basically, if you're, right, I'm charging 6 inches, you only roll a 5, you can still make it, you're just disordered. They're getting faster, but they're like, flailing around when they get in there, which is classic Blood Claw energy, really, isn't it?
Okay.
That's what they basically are. They're Blood Claws. They benefit from the Legion trait, which lets them run, charge, and, turns them into frothing chain axe swinging missiles. Give them chain axes, because you always should. It's only +1 for strength for 1 point. And if you're spinning extra spicy, swap the bolt pistols to combat shields for that straight there for the 6+ invulnerable save. But let's be honest, the pistol gives you 1 extra attack, and disordered charges are already eating that bonus attack. So maybe the shields aren't necessarily the best choice if you're going to have to do disordered. Okay,
combat shields take off your extra attack pack because you can't.
Because you lose the pistol. In the inducti, you lose the pistol, you get the shields, so you lose the extra attack.
Yeah.
So
fair enough.
I mean, I haven't necessarily made the best choices in my army. I took some of these and I haven't necessarily made the best choices, and I'm fine with that. I went for theme. They don't get a sergeant. They've just got another regular bro with a slightly bigger axe to grind. Bitten for a unit that's more Viking Rave than military squad. And while you can give them Fenrisian axes to the sergeant guy, you've got that. Fenrisian axes. That is relying on Reaping Blow, which is about as reliable as Russ showing up to a party on time. I mean, that's what the fight between him and the Lion was about. The fact that Lehman Russ was never actually turning up on time to any of his parties.
Siege of Terror either, did he?
Exactly. Yeah. See what I mean? Yeah. So
he was there. He just left.
Yeah, they're not subtle. Their charge is a bit more chaotic than effective. But if you're going into units already on the back foot, so you've got a pinned unit falling back or freshly decapitated by your characters, they're going to do fine. And Spite of the Legion, you still get that. That's +1 attack in those cases. So if they're, in those situations, you're getting a +1 attack. So the Inductor, they're space walls with the safety off. They're not clever, but they are fast, angry, and quite cost effective. Budget Blood Claws, fewer rules, more screaming. I think they're not bad.
The problem is Inducti.
Well, yes.
If I'm honest. But as Inducti go, they're not bad. They're nearly up there with the Ultramarines ones, but Inducti are problematic, I think, insofar as they, it's like they're a troop choice that isn't compulsory. So you've still got to take 2 other troop choices.
Yeah. They're flavour.
They are flavour.
Inducti are flavour. Oh, well, in this army, they're definitely flavour. In the Dark Angels,
chain axes, yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Okay, what about Death Swarm Grave? You'd love this. Oh, sorry, go on, Chris.
I said, I think with them, the charge being disordered, obviously, they won't get Furious Charge.
Correct.
Because it becomes a disordered charge and you don't get the bonuses for successful charges.
Correct.
So they're kind
not successful charges. I think that also applies to rad grenades, if I remember rightly. But anyway,
To be fair, I think the disorganized charge is only going to happen if you screw up your dice rolls. They're fast enough that I think most of the time you're going to have no problem getting them where they need to be.
When do you get disorganized charge? If it's less than...
Basically, if you roll 2 less than what you needed, you can still do the charge, but it's disorganized.
Headstrong. When declaring a charge for a unit composed entirely of models of this special rule, controlling player can declare it be a headstrong charge. So he declares the charge. It says it's going to be a headstrong charge at that point.
Right. Okay.
So at that point, you're saying this is going to be a disordered charge.
Yeah. So you are
when rolling to determine the charge distance, add 2, and that charge is disordered.
So, for example, if you're at 10 inches, I'd be tempted to do headstrong at that point.
Yeah. Yeah.
Your job is to get yourself into a position where you don't have to make the headstrong charge.
Yeah, and plus your opponent's probably going to use hold the line anyway, if they can.
Yeah.
Depending on who's charging what. So, cool. Okay. Next up is the Wargear Wolfguard Terminators, Mr. Chris.
Wargear Wolfguard Terminators.
No, you got Death One first, isn't it?
No, you haven't.
No, yeah, it's Wargear. Yeah, Wargear. Yeah. Sorry, I'll scroll down a bit further.
Mr. B, I'm just going to remind you my little friendly little chat.
We have photos. We have photos.
I'm going to spend literal hours.
Well, the photos weren't
doing.
Yeah,
graphics.
Sorry. Yes, no photos. Where's my slides? Where's my slides button? Slides. Units.
Every time.
Why aren't you coming up? Why aren't you coming up? Just give me a second. Just give me a second. Human slides.
Special focus title card. No, didn't use that one.
Didn't use that one.
Didn't use that one.
Forget it. Oops, didn't cut the mustard. Didn't
cut the mustard. No, that's
he's a harsh editor.
There
we go.
There we go. Sorry about that.
Those of you watching in colour.
Sorry about that.
The Wargear.
Wargear, yes, Wargear.
So, right. 250 points for the squad, which gives you 5 Cataphracti Terminators. They get Fear 1, Counterattack 1, and Stubborn. So they'll get Fearless with the bloodied Claw Writable. Because they already have Stubborn. Making them a Nightmare in close combat, armed with Frost weapons, but they can't take the Great Frost Blade, and Combi Bolters. They are versatile and brutal. You can even double up on frost weapons for more attacks, or swap for thunder hammers if you prefer the big hits.
Who doesn't?
Not chosen warriors, but they have their Lord's Bane rule, which means they can still challenge with the best of them whenever they're alongside consuls or praetors. Only the Thane gets to wield the Mighty Great Frostblade, but if they're winning in a challenge, the squad gets a sweet +1 to combat resolution.
Nice.
They're nice.
I think they're okay. It's just Cataphracti, not being able to sweep in advance. It's just always the thing that turns me off Cataphracti.
Doesn't bother me too much, to be honest with you. I mean, I'm there for I'll just kill them all anyway.
I think was that worked out something with the the melee. What was it? Sorry, I've just put it on the notes here, and I'm just getting to it again. So I keep scrolling up, down further. But yeah, weapon skill 600 charge, 4 attacks from 2 specialist weapons, and Hammer of Wrath 2. That's not bad.
No, it's not bad, and counterattack is useful as well.
Yeah, counterattack. So 4 attacks still on when they get charged. And again, Biomancy.
I did read that the other day because I thought, counterattack, that's really useful. But the counterattack doesn't work if you do hold the line.
Yes.
Because I was thinking, hold the line is great because you can just say, right, you're disorganized, but I'm getting counterattack 1, right? Doesn't work like that.
Nope.
Unfortunately. I found out the other day. Anyway,
what
they
else
are a good unit. I've got to say, I don't like the models, but they're a good unit.
What else we got here then? It can take Reaper autocannons. Is it the whole squad can take Reaper autocannons, or am I getting that wrong?
Can you double
1 in 5, isn't
it? Any model in the unit, yeah. So they can all take Reaper autocannons.
That seems excessive, but not bad.
It is.
A big squad of Reaper autocannons actually is probably pretty cool, but I bet it's not cheap.
They are 15 points apiece for a report cannon.
So if you had 10 of these, that's what 150 points for those, and then give them frostblade, frost axes. Yeah, it's getting up there, isn't it?
Yeah, but even a unit of 5 wouldn't be too bad with wargear cannons, because at least they're getting up the board a bit. At least when they're getting up the board, they're doing something useful.
Sorry, these guys so you're saying that they get access to Field of Pain 5 plus hatred, everything for an independent character. That's one of the one turn things, isn't it?
Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah. Okay.
I mean,
they're okay.
Yeah, they're okay. They're pretty okay. That said, modeling wise, I wouldn't buy the resin stuff because it's pretty much it's really hard to alter them to look any to have a different loadout.
I think if they're better than just Aaron, they might be. They don't have precision shots, and so they got counterattack. Same.
Yeah, Hammer of Wrath too.
Fear 1's super useful, to be honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
Unless you're stubborn, of course, against other stubborn things. But yeah, I mean, actually, banging them all with reporter cannons would make them a pretty good squad.
Well, yeah, because
shoot as well.
Yeah, because you're going
you
up
probably
that
want
board.
these in a Spartan, right, or something like that, don't you?
If you're having to walk up in the board, say you've taken the Rite of War with them and the Allied detachment, they're not just, what's the word I'm looking for? Spending time trying to get up the board. They're doing something when they're on the way. They're shooting.
Yeah, shooting. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, they would be a good squad actually to potentially take.
You go 5 squad of 10, 5 with reporter cannons, and 5 doubled up frost weapons.
Yeah, that isn't bad. That isn't bad. Anyway, they got 2 wounds. I'm assuming they got 2 wounds.
They do have.
They would have said Terminators, aren't they? So
2 wounds each, yeah. 2 wounds, 2 attacks each, 3 on the Thane.
Nice.
They're a really nice squad.
Hammer of Wrath too, as well, which is actually
useful. Super good.
Okay, cool. They're a big tick actually. As Terminators go, they're a good one, I think.
Okay.
So the next one is the Death Sworn. So these are the angry badgers.
Yeah, angry badgers.
Angry badger men, because they look like angry badgers, I think.
I was when I was putting my list together, I just had the old badger, mushroom thing.
Exactly the same, and that ages us.
That does, doesn't it?
It was so nearly that was what the graphic was going to be for these guys. It was so close.
So Death Sworn, 175 points for 5 models, 30 points for 5 more, so 30 points a model. 2 wounds, weapon skill 4, which does let them down a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Space Wolves come with power axes, stubborn, and counterattack 1. They can buy power fists, thunder hammers, or great frost blades. Great frost blades, yes, please. And the Ymira class status bombs to mess with enemy charge. Stasis. Sorry.
Yeah. They don't throw a load of Facebook status updates at you.
Status bombs. Yes, I'm status bombing you. So
at the hospital, if charged, everyone around here is snakes.
Yeah. If charged, the enemy must make a disorganized charge, and if used offensively, they gain flesh bane and gets hot on their attacks until your next turn. So pretty cool, I think. Good. The only thing I say they've got, power axes are standard. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of the power axes we talked about.
But they get access to rad grenades.
They do, absolutely do.
And that changes how useful those power axes.
They've got counterattack as well, which is good, and they're stubborn, so not bad. As a retinue for a caster of runes or Speaker of the Dead, I think they can. Those are the only ones that can join them. Though. I thought it was only a Speaker of the Dead that can join them. Or is it a caster of runes?
Caster of runes as well. Either of the two.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. They benefit from hatred rerolls on the first round of combat with rad grenades. They can deal instant death to many toughness 4 models, +1 strength busts like Biomancy or Howl of Morokai. Great Frost Blade offers strength 6, AP 2 initiative, and even more instant death potential. I thought it was only a certain number can take the Greater Frost Blade, or can they all take
2 per 2
that's
and
right.
5.
2 and a 5.
Mm-hmm.
That's correct. Yeah.
Oh, sorry, so one every
1 every 5.
1 every 5. Yeah.
Power fists let them deal with high armor units like Justerans or Death Shroud. True enough. Their 2+ save and 2 wounds make them tough to crack. Their stasis bombs mess with enemies' movement and strikes. However, using them offensively can be risky as gets hot. 2 of the 5 ultimate upgrades. These guys are a great pick for causing instant death and overwhelming enemy units with their power and toughness. The only thing I would say is their weapon skill 4, as opposed to most kind of elite-esque units being weapon skill 5.
Mm-hmm.
But you put them with the Speaker of the Dead, who basically gets everything anyway. They've also got Feel the Pain to throw into the mixer.
Mm-hmm.
So I think they're a good unit. You've probably got to pick your battles a bit unless you can somehow do anything with their weapon skill, which I'm sure I think Rites of War and stuff can do it, but maybe just for one round. But yeah, so they'd be hit on 5s and being hit, on 3s against another unit of comparable strength.
Mm-hmm.
So they're pretty good, I think. The Angry Badgers, not bad.
The grenades are super cool, making
organized charge without having to use a reaction to do so.
Yeah, that's super useful.
Agreed.
Yeah, they are basically Space Wolves versions of destroyers.
Yeah, but a bit more. 2 wounds, and they've got a 2+ or 3+. Say 2+ save.
2+.
Yeah, so they are pretty handy.
Yep,
pretty useful. Okay,
counter attack 1. Yeah, I think that's super cool.
Yep,
they are
excellent. Not crazy expensive either. I know you get 5, but 175 points for just 5 of these guys. I think that's not too bad.
They're not Justarian, but they're up there.
Yeah, they're not Terminator.
Not Justarian. What's the one? Caesarean.
Oh yeah,
the ultimate.
The granddaddies of all the
of the non-Terminator
chaps. Yeah.
They are very good. Okay, so just a second. Sorry, I had to blow my nose there, and I didn't want me to mute, so you didn't get that in your ear. Okay, the next unit is interesting. These are your basic troop choice. I mean, you can still take the tacticals, but these are... Sorry?
But why would you?
Yeah, why would you? When you can take Grey Slayers. 145 points for 10 models, 12 points per additional model. They're skirmish, and they are good at both tactical and assault roles. They come based with bolt pistols, Fenrisian axes, and combat shields, which you can swap out to bolters. Versatile in combat, so they get counterattack 1, they strike back hard when you charge them, and they have Heart of the Legion. I mean, that's... yeah. Each model can take a power weapon for 5 points, so you are boosting their melee strength significantly, and up to 5 models can swap their axes for heavier weapons, like Power Fists, Lightning Claws. And they also get to take... Is it? Oh, sorry, it's 1 in 5, isn't it? Not up to 5.
Yeah, 1 in 5. Yeah. Up to 5 would perhaps make them...
Yeah, that'd be ridiculous. That'd be ridiculous. Yeah, so you can change that for Power Fists, Lightning Claws, and you can swap the bolt pistols for hand flamers or plasma pistols. Your Huskarl, which is Sergeant equivalent, can be heavily upgraded with options like a Thunder Hammer, 2 Lightning Claws, so they can become a real serious threat. They can go in Rhinos or Land Raider Proteuses for transportation, though skirmish and speed make these not necessarily that, needed. And their line. Yeah. You can turn these into small, deadly squads to large units that hit hard in melee to your basic gun line. They do everything. They are phenomenal. This picture, however,
I think they're one of the best, and they have been for some time, even in V1. They're one of the best troop choices.
Yeah. Only problem with this picture is that's a kit you can't even buy anymore because it's the old plastic Mark III and the upgrades. I don't think they even make them anymore.
They don't make the upgrade anymore. I tried really hard to find it, but
you can't buy the upgrade kit anymore to make those guys with the shields. So
I was looking for it, and I was like, I know they've done. I remember there being a kit trying to buy
it was an upgrade kit.
I saw somebody use buttons like Celtic buttons.
That was wrong
for the shield.
That was wrong, wasn't it?
It was wrong. It looks really good.
Yeah. But so I think these are fantastic troop choice. I mean, the only problem you find with good troops is you're tempted to use them where you probably wouldn't want them, if that makes any sense. So you're thinking, actually, these guys can take those guys. They're my troop choice. If they get wiped out, that's your scoring unit done.
Yeah.
So it is 6 and 2 3s, but basically it means your whole army is, because you have to, most of the time I'm spending 200 point troop tax on 2 tactical squads, and my expectation for them is to do nothing other than maybe get a lucky.
That's why you pay for assault squads.
Exactly, yeah. But the problem with that is, again, it's the same problem. Is that I think they can take them, and they don't, and they die, and then I've lost a scoring unit. So yeah. But having said that, if you had, if I had this choice as a troops choice, yeah, I mean 20 person Grey Slayer pack, in a Spartan, we know how effective that can be.
Yeah.
And they can kind of rock it with, if you give them all of the warlord traits and rites of war, they could probably comfortably take on a elite unit.
I think the thing is with them, again, is you can take a little hit of that, look at all these upgrades magic, and start going,
oh yeah, it's the
mechanical
problem.
Yeah.
It's like, I'll have all of those, please. Everybody's going to have power fist, or everybody's going to have a power weapon. Everybody's going to have a power fist. I'm going to just tool these guys up to the max. And there might be an argument that, are they good enough to cover that? For example, if you had 3 20-man squads in Land Raiders,
toughness 4 with a 3+ armor save and 1 wound each,
and
I think.
weapon skill 4 as well. They probably might struggle, but as a troop choice, yes.
Yeah. If you're doing Bloody Claw and you do the tantrum, that initial turn, they're going to cause a lot of havoc.
That would be the plan. Would be to turn 2, get them up the board, cause massive bother.
But yeah, I think that's the real key. Lovely stuff. Changed browsers because one was using I'm a fool and decided to do exactly the wrong moment. We are. Oh, sorry, ladies and gentlemen.
We're going to talk about Grey Stalkers next.
Grey Stalkers. Yeah, very similar to Grey Slayers, but they start with chain swords instead of Fenris axes and can buy combat shields or bolters for just 1 point. They get access to a wider range of ranged weapons, including combi weapons, flamers, Volkite chargers, rotor cannons, plasma guns, melter guns. So they're that hybrid of tactical and assault squad.
I played some strengths. I didn't really look at Grey Slayers with any. I was like, yeah, that's kind of cool, but again, you kind of get upgrade blindness or not, and they can get quite expensive. But yeah, some good points there, though.
Yeah, they have relentless, so he uses it, but there's nothing there that would mean that they couldn't. Just trying to think.
Have they got heavy weapons in there?
No, everything's an assault weapon or.
Volkite calibers or charges?
Caliber, possibly.
The caliber is a heavy weapon.
Okay. Yeah. So if you're taking the Volkite caliber, that's useful. But
is the rotor cannon a heavy weapon?
I'm pretty sure the rotor cannon is an assault weapon, but it may just be because I'm thinking of the as Elastus. They are the shooty version of the Grey Slayers, basically. Rotor cannon, assault 4.
Yeah. I mean, it's a good point that you make, though, Mr. B, in the notes, that giving them the Volkite caliber actually does make them pretty useful. Because I think is that 3-shot strength 6?
Something like that, yeah. Yes, 3-shot strength 6, yes. I've been using a lot of them lately on my tanks.
So, not bad. So, yeah, I mean, 10 of them, that's 30 shots. Yeah. Not terrible. And they can move and run and whatnot. So, yeah, nice.
But it's only 1 Volkite caliber for every 5 models.
Ah, is it? Okay, not
so it's not, you can't take it full squad. It's one guy gets this out of
Okay, so
they're okay. But
I would go with Grey Slayers over them.
Yeah, if I've got a troop choice, there are 2 choices I'm taking. Grey Slayers are one of them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Guys should jump pack still on because that movement speed is awesome.
Yep.
Right. What's next? One of the favourite things you love to talk about, Graham.
Fenrisian wolves. So,
yes,
a budget.
Fenrisian.
Well, that's a Fenrisian.
I'm wondering if these are still going to be. If these are, I'm curious as to whether these will still be available in a few weeks' time.
Can you buy these?
You can buy them now, but the Space Wolves are about to get a range refresh, and they showed off a unit with these in it, and I'm sort of like, are we going to still have these guys? Mm-hmm. Are we going to have a scout situation where they give us a unit and then they take it away again?
Do you think the Wolves are going to get bigger because they'll all been thingy-majiggered as well? What is it?
Primarisified.
Primarisified, yeah. Do you think they're going to go Primaris dogs?
Primaris are
dogs.
From
Great Danes as opposed to...
So, anyway, the Fenrisian Wolves, budget-friendly flavor-packed retinue for any Praetor. So while they might not be winning any awards for durability with their strength and toughness of 3 and their 6+ save, unless getting shot at and still being alive counts, they're only 10 points each. Perfect if you want to bring some Wolfie back up without breaking the bank. They're great for adding character to your army while your actual battle-ready troops do the heavy lifting. Plus, with the skirmish subtype, their extended coherency and better cover save. So they won't embarrass themselves too much when they inevitably get shot at. Yeah, I mean, they're flavor only.
They're not great. They're flavor.
You can't then put your Praetor into another unit.
Can't you?
No, because he's part of... They're part of that. He's part of that unit.
Unless they're wargear.
Which they are not. They're a separate unit.
Gotcha. Yeah, they're a retinue. And he's joining their unit.
It's like...
they're not a retinue.
No, but they might be a unit. Let's have a look.
They're a Legacies unit.
Are they?
Yeah, they are indeed. They are a Legacies unit.
Let me just have a quick look. Because I looked at them and I thought, no, they can't join. Because the Russ and his dogs, I think, suffer from the same problem as well. That if you have them, that's great, but where are they? Legion Astartes, Fenrisian, 59, so close. 62. Fenrisian Wolf Pack. Do 1 for 10 points. Pack retinue. A Fenrisian Wolf Pack may only be chosen as a retinue for a model with Legion Astartes, Space Wolves, and Master of the Legion special rules.
There you go.
No, they're not. They're not a retinue, are they?
Yes.
I just said they are.
No, literally, their rule is Mr. B. Pack retinue. That's the exact rule. They are chosen as a retinue for a model with both Astartes Space Wolves and Master of the Legion special rules.
Okay.
Yeah, Fenrisian Wolf Pack comes under retinue.
Doesn't take up a 4-sorg slot. That's fine. Retinues don't. And it's considered part of the same unit as the model taken as leader, same as a...
So you can't get them. Yeah, basically you're screwed. They're not wargear, they're a retinue. Okay, cool. So very cool, very themey, probably not the best use of points in the world.
Nice.
I mean, yeah, they are just flavor. I mean, I wouldn't take them, but it depends really.
Yeah. Okay. What's next, Mr. B?
What's up next? We've got this is a exemplary battle unit. It's a Jorland Hunter pack. Now I think these are interesting. They've got Scout and Crusader, so you're charging pretty, head first. It's pretty good there. Not very subtle. I mean, it's the same kind of subtlety as using a flamethrower at a barbecue. They're not scoring, but they've got lots of potential. They're armed with hands flamers, but you can choose a Volkite charger instead. I mean, why not keep the fat fire flame going? And they've got one gimmick, Scouring Tempest. Once per game, they power up and make all their flamers pinning and torrent fringage. So that's interesting. I mean, it's just roasting your enemies and annoying them with a sudden pinning check that they weren't expecting. Would I take... Would I take... Oh, sorry, no, they can take a flamer as well, yeah. Would I take them? I don't know. Part of me kind of wants to say yes, because they are very themey, they are very interesting. But, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Thought about them numbing hard.
No, I wouldn't.
I don't think they're for what they can do, and the fact that if they get into combat, that's fine. But flame weapons aren't all that.
No, agreed.
And
Torrent 3, because I think the maximum range of a hand flame is not the same. Or is it? It's not template, is it? Or is it the same as template?
It's template, yeah.
Oh, there's just a strength less.
Template, but they're just not as useful.
Yeah, strength 3, yeah.
Let me have a look at these rules again in a second. Where are we? Oh, that's the mission. Where's the rules for this unit?
Jewel and Hunter pack.
How much is your Volkite? I'm sure you could take it's a chieftain squad. Volkite Serpenter. 1 in every 5 models can take a Volkite Serpenter.
Yeah,
not as good.
All right, thanks.
They can take melter bombs, but
they can exchange their hand flamer for a flamer. Okay, that makes them slightly better, but
no, 1 in 5 for every 5.
They are they are a unit that was designed for that mission and Zone Mortalis esque missions. And that's
Zone Mortalis, I very much think Zone Mortalis, they'd be good. Flamers in Zone Mortalis are great.
They were just built for that particular scenario, and that's kind of it, unfortunately. Yeah.
Yeah, no, thinking about it, if I was going to play Zone Mortalis with Space Wolves, I'd definitely think about taking some of these.
Yeah. I think at the same time, they're kind of useful.
Yeah.
I don't think they've got a place. Well, I don't think compared to what you could take in other parts of the army in the troops, I think
they
don't touch Grace Slayers or Grace Slayers.
I think we're going to get something happening for Zone Mortalis soon.
Ooh,
because
so says the voice of prophecy.
Well, the new World Eaters character, the captain, what's her name? What's her name?
The one that comes with Angron.
Yeah, the one that's coming out with Angron, who apparently has someone's got in hand already.
Of course they have.
Because Games Workshop accidentally sent out the one. Her rules are specifically for Zone Mortalis. Well, not specifically, but they are bonus for Zone Mortalis. So I've got a feeling maybe she's going to be coming out with, I don't know, maybe a Zone Mortalis book or something. I'm just being paranoid and let's read into the lines here. Anyway, never mind.
That's a bit of a jump.
It is.
Yeah, I just think it's just a case of, I'm just going to put this cool model out and...
Yeah, she's going to very good on the battlefield normally because she's
excellent
really
in the books, though. She's excellent in the books, though. There's one scene where basically they're invading a planet, and Angron says to these World Eaters, "Hey, you've got to stay on the ship because we don't need it boarded, you idiots." And of course, they decide they're going to go down because they want to chop and burn. And when they get back up on the ship, but after it's been invaded by I think it was the Ultramarines. She just walks up to these Space Marines, takes out a pistol, and starts shooting at them, and telling them that they're a bunch of gits. And Angron's like, yeah, she had every right to do that. She actually terrifies the Space Marines. So I mean, she's got some balls.
Cool. Oh, so
sorry, big fan.
Very good.
Next up is the Jarl. For 10 points, you can make your Praetor into a counterattack powerhouse with counterattack 2. Because you need to charge when you have counterattack twice as hard.
Sorry, just give me a second. I'm having I don't know why, but it's not switching. Oh, I see why. It wasn't so much a technical issue as I had a model was pressing down on the Alt key and thus cancelling out any other
the actions. Yes, so the Jarl counterattack 2, we like that an awful lot. And they take the skirmish subtype if they're joining Grey Slayers or Grey Stalkers. It's like bringing a flamethrower to a knife fight. Lots of attacks coming away.
It's got to think about flamethrowers, hasn't he, Mr. B?
It does. I'm a bit concerned that if it partly pull, there's going to be a sudden string of fire-related incidents.
Fire-related. He's going to buy one of those flamethrowers from Elon, isn't he? The Tesla flamethrower.
Oh, yeah, they did make those years ago. Why didn't we see what we should have seen then? Why would anybody? It was all there. It was all there.
He had a choice at one. There's a moment in time where he could have been the person that saves the Earth or destroys the Earth, and regrettably thought I'm just going to be a Nazi. So
dark timeline.
That's it.
This should be the point where I say all thoughts are Chris's own, but no, I agree with him 100%.
Yeah, same. Cool. Okay.
We like the Jarl. I think the Jarl's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I mean, it's 10 points for counterattack too, basically, isn't it?
Okay. Yeah, basically. Yeah. What do you think of the models that they have? I mean, obviously you can use any of them.
I controversially chose that's the new Praetor, and that's the
Which one's the new one?
The one on the right hand side. The one on the left
power
hand
armor
side
one
is
the
that got moaned at so much they stopped making it.
They stopped making it.
What's wrong with that one?
I'm sure that was the model that everyone kicked off about.
I mean, everyone hated it, but everyone hated it. To be honest, everybody hated all of the Space Wolves models. Every time they have unveiled a Space Wolf model, they've been like, "It's horrible. It's no good. It looks awful. It's not a Space Wolf model." And it's like, honestly, guys, just pack it in.
The bolter rounds came out of some random place.
That was on the upgrade pack for the Grey Hunters, or Stalkers, or whatever. The Grey whatever Slayers. Yeah, it was on the upgrade pack. But this guy, it was the fur. Apparently, it looked like bananas.
That was it.
Yeah, banana boy.
And it was like,
they don't make it anymore.
Oh, that's a shame. I've got the model. I painted him up. I like the model, but because it reminds me of the old metal HQs it used to get, with the whole cross style what's the word I'm looking for? Pose. I thought it looked so much like the old school stuff.
Okay, well anyway. So Jarl counterattack 2 for 10 points. That's not bad, is it?
That's not bad. Take that every day of the week.
Yeah.
Every day of the week. Like it a lot.
Yeah.
There is a slightly less useful version.
Yeah, so you've got the Pack Thane, I think that's how you pronounce it. So for just 10 points, you get a mini Jarl with counterattack 1 and the option for skirmish subtype, basically a discount version of the Praetor, minus the whole being a Praetor thing. Can't ride bikes though, so unless you want them leaping around as some kind of over-enthusiastic space wolf with a jump pack, the mobility is a bit limited. And with all that, you miss out on some of the more impactful console upgrades. So while they're cheap, you might want to think twice before committing. Still, if you're looking for a budget option that delivers a solid punch, the Pack Thane might just be the guy for the job.
I don't think you're ever looking for a cheap console.
I mean, most things in the army have counterattack anyway, so I'm not quite sure what the.
Why you wouldn't take a champion?
Look, if you need a cheap HQ, there's always the Optate. Is it the Optate?
Oh, shut up about the bloody Optate. You and the Optate. Every week, Optate.
I have mentioned the Optate once, and that was when it was introduced.
You mentioned it every week.
I think it's worth a mention, because it is an incredibly cheap single HQ.
40 flipping points. It's stupid. It's I mean, sorry. I don't think there's any point to that. It's like, what
does he come with again? Does he come with about 4,000?
The Optate, he's tanked out. Like he is.
He's not tanked up. He's got I can't remember what his loadout is, but he's basically a power sword or not even a power sword. He's 40 goddamn points.
Take Solar Auxilia, can't he?
No, that's the The Optate is a 40-point, not even a console. He is a 40-point HQ model that can be your warlord. 40-point warlord. I have not mentioned the Optate. I will mention the Overseer, because the Overseer is great.
I do apologise, Mr. B. I get the Optate and the Overseer clearly confused. You mention the Overseer every week. This is literally the same.
That's because the Overseer is amazing, and I have not mentioned it all today. In fact, you know what I've forgotten to do? I've forgotten to put the flipping notes for the flipping Solar Auxilia in here, so I'm going to have to dig that up.
Okay, I can tell you what they are if you like, off the top of my head.
Go on.
Militia make shooting attacks. You don't get cover saves against their shooting attacks or shrouded saves. I think it is something like that. Basically, you don't get any sort of cover save against their shooting.
I will dig it. I will dig it out in a minute and just check it, because but
Verbatim, Mr. B. That's what it says.
Oh, you should have just read it out. Sorry.
So, okay, Pac Thane, probably give it a miss. 10 points, basically, that would make him 70 points for a console type. So, okay. With counter-attack, if that's your thing. What about the next one? Who is slightly better, I feel?
Speaker of the Dead. So I'm going to take the units off the screen now because we don't need them right now because we don't have a Speaker of the Dead model. If I can
No, I thought we did, but we don't.
No, we don't. Don't have a Speaker of the Dead model yet. He's basically, why would you settle for a Chaplain or a Primus Medicae? You can have a model that does both. He's got Narthesium.
This is so cheesy.
Yeah, he's got Narthesium, and a Master Crafted Power Roll. Plus, he upgrades to Leadership 10 and grants Stubborn and Hatred everything. He's a one-man support squad. A slightly excessive amount of power attack charges. Why have I put 61 on the charge?
If you had that many, everybody would have
one. You don't. Why have I put... I don't know where I got that from. Okay, well, you can't dual wield Lightning Claws or grab a Boarding Shield, but he's going to hold his own because that Power Maul can be swapped to a Power Axe for slicing through 2+ saves, or Great Floss Blade.
Which, of course, you would take.
Yeah. He's the most expensive console, I believe. He's 65 points for his... on top of the... But you get what you pay for. He's still 2 for 3 wounds, but do you need Chaplain and a Medicae when you can have him?
Exactly right.
Actually, I don't think...
you're going to take a Chaplain with this army, if you've got any sense.
Can they take a Chaplain? They never used to be able to.
No, they can't take Chaplains, they can't take Librarians or Primaris Medicaes.
Yeah, they've got their own.
But they can just take one model that does 2 things, which would cost you another 100 points to any other army.
Yeah.
I mean,
and also,
you could take a tech, take an apothecary.
Who's taking Primaris Medicae?
You don't see it very often these days. The only advantage of it over is that you can join Terminator squads, isn't it?
Again, I think the thing with Primus Medicaes is people want them in a Terminator squad, but they're so difficult to model.
There's a specific model that they used to do, wasn't there?
Primus they did it. It was a one weekend. One weekend. It was released in Warhammer stores for 1 weekend. 1 weekend. You could buy it in 2 days. And that was while stocks last. Yes. And I got like 4 of them
somewhere. Because they were hot property back in the day.
It's just a trash model. That's the thing I always think. It's
really it's a horrid model.
It's a horrible model. Yeah, you're right.
It's a horrid model, but it's one of those things, you know. You just I think they did it because they've done a lot of this over the years. They've put out a model specifically so they could trademark, say, "Oh, we've made this model, therefore XYZ company can't make a model and call it that." Because you can't copyright the idea of a model. You've actually got to make a model to copyright it.
Right. Okay.
If that
so anyway, Speaker of the Dead, Stubborn, Hatred, everything. It's basically Chaplain with giving you fear and pain. Absolutely bonkersly good. I think, because it's one slot. You know that you can do 2 things. That does 2 things.
Okay. All right, moving on to Caster of the Runes. So this is where we do get a new screen up. New mod.
Yeah.
Nice.
It's okay.
No,
it's actually
it's better than okay. This is some filthy witchcraft wielding librarian. Is a 45-point shaman who's a psyker with adamantium wheel 4+.
He is a psyker.
Yeah.
Yes. Not a reader of entrails to make magic happen. He is a psyker. Because hypocrisy was not,
Absolutely. But he does get that very precious ability of Winds of Fenris.
Agree.
Is
super useful.
Almost worth the 45 points on its own.
I think so. Giving you, what was it, 3+ if you power it up. Shrouded, amazing. Again, it saves you a reaction. Super useful.
Yeah, super useful. Super useful.
Yeah.
Does he get so he can choose one of the following? So he can't take it as well as something else. Okay, cool. Yeah,
very good.
I think it's super cool.
Yeah. Never mind Prospero. That was just a minor inconvenience for not having psychers. We clearly don't have them in our army.
But White Scars and in Stormseers.
Stormseers, yeah.
They're not psychics. They're just
not psychics, really.
Weathermen.
Okay. But again, in terms of their console types, unique console types, other than the Thayan, Speaker of the Dead, Caster of Runes are both good.
Absolutely.
I would definitely take them in an army.
Yeah.
All right. Well, on to the characters then, which they have a few.
They don't actually have as many as I thought. I thought they had more, but they do not.
No, you're right. They do not have a few. They have 2, in fact. I thought they had loads.
Yeah, I did as well, but
no,
yeah,
I guess not.
No.
All right.
I do have to point out here, I love this, and I left it here because I love it. But Gregor, is it Gregor? Gregor Fellhand.
Gregor
isn't Bjorn.
Yes, he is.
He isn't. Everybody. He's a separate character. He's been mentionedly he's got his own lore. He's not He's not Bjorn. But I think he was supposed to be.
They're
Bjorn.
Brothers.
Nope.
They're both called Fellhand, aren't they?
Nope. One's the Fell-handed and one's the Fell-hand.
Oh well, there you go. That's a massive difference.
I honestly think they meant for this model on the left to be Bjorn and then changed their mind.
Okay.
I think he was supposed to be Bjorn and then they changed their minds because because when it leaked, I remember seeing
the box set, wasn't he?
Yeah, it was in the box set and then not available for forever. But he's a very specific his own character. He's not anything to do with Bjorn, and he appears in a couple of. I think he appears in at least one audio drama by Gav Thorpe. But yeah, no, it was everybody at the time was like, yeah, it's Bjorn. He's coming to 30K, and then it was like, no, this is Gregor the Fellhand. He's definitely not.
Well,
Bjorn.
According to Lexicanum, they're the same person. That's all I'm saying.
Nope, they are not the same person.
Well, controversy.
Bjorn is basically a sergeant, and Gregor is he's a centurion.
Yeah, very good.
All right.
Well, anyway, while that argument simmers away nicely in the background, let me tell you all about him. So for 135 points, you get Gregor Fellhand. He's a Thane with skirmish subtype, counterattack 1, and a 5++ save.
Probably Gregor.
Gregor.
There's no R in it. Yeah, it's probably
Gregor. His Crown Breaker Warlord trait makes him and his squad preferred enemy independent characters. Feel no pain 5+. Extra reaction in the movement phase, because why not get an extra reaction while you're already there? The Fellhand itself is a mastercrafted strength +1 AP3 weapon with shred, reaping blow 1, and rending 5+. So it's a little bit of everything, slashing, reaping, and maybe even leaving you with a few extra painful memories. 135 points seems like a lot for him, to be honest. I mean, when you could, I suppose, Crown Breaker, but his Warlord trait, he has to be the Warlord then, wouldn't he?
Yeah.
And he's only a console. Has he got the console stat line, or has he got a Praetor stat line?
5/5. Bonus 5, physical 5, strength 4 times 4, 3 wounds, 3 attacks, 5. So
I see this model a lot in Space Wolves Army, and I think that's because he is plastic and therefore he is easy to adapt. Well, cheap, and he's easy to modify into something else.
Model. He's a nice model.
I did just check up. He's not Bjorn. Bjorn stole his lightning claw.
There you go. So I was just referencing the lightning claws. That's the last reference.
Oh yeah,
because the weapon is the Fellhand, isn't it?
Yeah, Bjorn stole his lightning claw.
Ah, very cool.
But I really do suspect that he was intended to be Bjorn, and they changed their mind.
Certainly. Almost certainly.
Well,
and then they were like, "Yeah, but Bjorn's just like a little sergeant at this point, so why would he have his own character?"
Fair enough. He's got a nice looking dreadnought though, which is probably well out of stock. They don't make it anymore.
To be honest, I really hope that Games Workshop do not get rid of Bjorn from the book and stop selling this dreadnought, because if Space Wolf players are anything like I remember when it comes to this guy, if they get rid of Bjorn, there will be riots.
Okay,
they will make last summer's riots look like a picnic. But no,
he is plastic. And he is 40 if you're trying to £40, and he is still readily available.
He is the generic.
He's for heresy. He's got a assault cannon, which Space Wolves can't take.
He's also the generic kit for a Space Wolves standard, Castaferum Dreadnought. So he makes other weapons as well. He makes the standard Dreadnought as well. So it's not as...
not as restrictive as all that. So you could give him a heavy bolter or something. Cool. Okay. Well, that's him. He's okay. Not set the world on fire, but not terrible. Initiative 5 is super useful, though. I will give him that. But he hasn't got an AP2 weapon, though. It is rending 5+. So, yeah, he's not bad, actually. I'll take it back. He's okay. Initiative 5 is a good thing. Okay, what's next out the bag?
Okay. Oh, sorry, I've gone back for some reason. Okay, next out of the bag, we have Haval.
Eddie Redbeard.
Yes.
Eddie Redbeard.
Your favourite. So 210 points. He's a veteran Terminate commander. And he lives for two things in life, killing and getting close to the action fast. He's got a heavy bolter. Why not? And a half splitter is his weapon, a strength +2 AP2 armor bane power weapon for those up close and personal moments. He's a killing machine with a side of strategy.
Is that an initiative, that AP2 weapon?
No. Yes, it is. Sorry, yes. Melee armor.
Nice.
Yeah, and he has... So basically, he's got Fear, Counterattack 1, but his Warlord trait, Head Taker, grants preferred enemy infantry and an extra reaction in the assault phase.
Nice.
Pretty nice. His battle culling ability gives him Scout to 3 infantry units in this detachment. This means you get all your units moving faster into position, even Terminators in a Spartan. And if you play your cards right, outflank on units in reserve.
Just remember that if you can't charge...
And they're going to come in with Fleet 2 and Rage 2. He likes to move fast, and
they're going to come in with a wall of interceptor. That's what they're going to come in with.
Yeah,
but
buddies.
But I mean, Scout's not bad. But against, I think if you make a Scout move, you can't then charge in that first turn. But yeah, you can give 3 units to go. Actually, I don't want to charge first turn, but they're going to be right up in your
why that keeps doing that.
Very cool. He seems pretty useful, actually, particularly with a Strength 6 AP2 power weapon. That's going to take some names. Nice. I like him.
Yeah, he is good. He is.
Heavy bolter's a little bit, bit sort of showing off, really, isn't it? But overcompensating. But 210 points, that's quite a lot for a.
Yeah, that's the only thing is,
it's pricey. When you could get a Praetor with Thunderhammer and Paragon Blade for about 180.
Yeah.
But still, he's got some cool rules. So, yeah, nice. Preferred enemy infantry, I mean, that is super useful. Because everything you're going to go against is going to be infantry pretty much.
Trump.
Yeah. Reroll those ones.
Yep. That's what we like.
Okay. Who's next?
Who's next
indeed?
Oh, Chris, you get the big man.
I get the big man. Mr. Oh, I forgot what it was now. No. What was the anagram?
Mr. Sensual? No.
Mr. Sensual. That
himself.
Was it. Mr. Sensual himself. Eamon Russ is an anagram. Is Mr. Sensual. Join the patron to uncover more interesting
crazy
facts,
names,
such as Mr. Sensual. 450 points. You get the big bad Primarch himself, Lehman Russ. This guy's the epitome of aggression and brutality, packing weapon skill 8, strength 6, initiative 5, and 5 attacks. With strength to smash anything in his path. His armor of Elvagar gives him a 4++, and a 3++ against Melter, Plasma, and Flame. But the real kicker is that -1 to hit debuff he gives to enemy models when he charges. Yeah.
Yikes.
He is not a lot of fun. He has...
I mean, his weapon skill 8, so most of the time you're on 5s anyway, right? And that would make that 6s.
6s, yeah.
That's only when he charges, right?
Which is going to be...
most of the time, but
most of the time.
I mean, it's not like, because there used to be where it was in place all of the time. Is it only in the first round?
Let me just have a quick look for you.
Actually, I'll check it out. You carry on.
He anyway, yeah, I'll let you do that.
Because
he has
one. He was like -2 on the first round, and then -1 for all subsequent rounds.
All the things.
Again, that was from the book of Excess.
The book of excess, as we now call it.
Sounds like a Slanesh Bible.
Yes, it does. It does sound something you would find in some Satanist's library, doesn't it? And over here, the book of excess, which we read on Sundays. Okay. Just after Songs of Praise.
Just after Songs of Praise. The perfect time to read any.
Yeah, absolutely.
Opulence.
Of course, when we are referring to excess, we don't mean
it down to, read a few chapters of the book of excess.
Just
before we go to bed.
So what it's saying here is I should supersize everything.
Supersize it indeed.
Supersize everything.
Right. He died a few years back.
2 super cool weapons, because why wouldn't he? He has the Axe of Hellwinter, +2 strength, AP2, Reaping Blow 1, and Sunder. So that's unpleasant to start with. And then he has the Sword of Bale Knight, +1 strength, AP2, Murderous Strike 4+, Brutal 2, Fearsome Ruin, and Master Crafted. So, Fearsome Ruin, any unit which suffers 1 or more casualties from a weapon with this special rule and makes a roll check during the assault phase must roll an additional d6 for the check that keep the 2 highest dice to determine the result. So, if you manage to survive the combat, that Mr. 7 attacks, 8 attacks on the charge, decides to throw at you, then you get to a leadership test and almost certainly fail it on 3d6, picking the 2 highest. Just an absolute monster.
He's a monster. He really is.
Yeah. He is almost 500 points. So he is, costed into the echelon.
I know, but I mean, he's so good.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, he's got a ton of super bad. I mean, yeah. Sorry.
He isn't a buffer. He is not a.
I don't know. I was just looking at his rules, actually. He gives that +1 to strength on the charge, which is super useful. And he's got that howl as well.
Yep.
That he can rip off. I think he has got some cool buffs. I mean, he's not but I mean, the buffs are very much linked to them charging.
Yeah.
So disorganized charge will probably screw that up. But I think if you combined him with some of the, the other shenanigans you can pull off, I think, you can make something seriously, seriously good.
I mean, he does support, but it's like, he's not the most supporting. I think all of the Primarchs do some sort of supporting thing. It's just not necessarily his strength.
Yeah.
But you're not taking him to boost your army. You're taking
you're taking him to break the back of Magnus.
Yeah, like the Lion. You're taking him to do one thing, that is murder half of the board.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's going to do that. And
every day of the week.
Every day of the week until he runs up to Horus in full juice mode.
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, maybe.
I mean,
like
every
demon mode, but
possibly
every single one of the Primarchs does a support thing, and they do a combat-y thing. It's just that it's different. I think it's different levels of what they do.
Yeah.
Like Gulliman,
agreed.
He can hold his own, but he's a support character. He's a support Primarch, but he can still hold his own in a fight, just not necessarily against another Primarch.
Yeah, 450s.
There's a lot of points, but he's worth 450 points. He's worth a quarter of your army, because you put him in a Spartan with 10 cataphractide, 10 Tartarus Terminators, and stick a Speaker of the Dead in there.
Yeah,
and enjoy yourself.
Can the Speaker of Dead only join the Thingammy squads? Can't he?
No, he can only join Deathsworn, but that's because Deathsworn have a rule that only he can join them.
Oh, I see. Beg your pardon, I got that round the wrong way.
That's right. So you still rock a Speaker of the Dead in the Terminator squad, giving them 5+ feel no pain and Russ, and just having a merry old time if you really want to be that guy.
Yeah.
That is going to be 1,000 points, but it's going to be 1,000 points that's going to earn its more than that, because a Spartan's 350 points. You're talking about 1,200 points probably for one Death Star unit. Don't do it, kids. But also,
I'm sure many people have.
Yeah, it's definitely a way to go, and absolutely.
Yep, absolutely, and I'm here for that.
And I'm here for that kind of lifestyle.
Yep, definitely.
Okay. What's next?
Next.
It's me.
Yeah.
The rather cool looking Wolfkin of Russ, Freaky the Swift, and Jerry the Cunning.
Jerry the Cunning.
I'm sure that's not how that's pronounced. Anyway, they are the Hearth Wolves of the King. Nice. For 100 points, you get 2 oversized wolves who are loyal to Russ. Literally, they can only join him. These wolves, Wolfkin of Russ, come with a whole fetching list of special rules: Fearless, Fear plus, Fear 1, Rampage 2, Hammer of Wrath 1, Fear of Pain 5+, and Bulky 4. On top of that, they have the Skirmish and Light types for extra flexibility. Jerry has weapon skill 7, and Freaky brings 4 attacks to the table. Together, they tear through enemies with strength 5 AP4 claws and teeth. And their breaching 6+ might just help them rip through armor like nothing. They're not a retinue, since they can
this is the one I'm getting. Yeah, this is the one I was getting mixed up.
As HQ choices, they don't count towards the Primarch Lord of War limits. So if you want a couple of good boys to smash some enemies with Russ, they're good to go. Just don't expect to replace your normal command squad. They're here for the furry fun, not the paperwork. So can these be taken as war gear?
So, the rule is Wolfkin of Russ. Wolfkin of Russ may only be selected in a detachment if Leman Russ is in the same detachment. Makes sense.
Very good.
If they are chosen as part of a detachment, they are treated as an HQ choice as far as any special rule, objective, or mission is concerned, but do not take up slots on the Force Org chart.
Right, you are.
This unit cannot be joined by any other model except Leman Russ.
Right. So they're a unit. So if Russ joins them, he can't join another unit.
Yes.
Well, yes.
That's how I would interpret it.
Yeah, I would interpret it that way too.
So
that's it. I have seen many player use them with another squad.
They're wrong.
Yeah, because it specifies that this unit cannot be joined by any other model.
Yeah, so he physically joins the unit, which means, and you can't join 2 units.
Yeah. They're not wargear.
Yeah.
I mean, they're cool models.
They are cool models, but yeah, that really, I wouldn't take them for that, because they can't, because it limits what you could do with Russ. Unless you're trying to flange the rules. And if someone wants to write in and Aunt Sally as a response to the
please do
hammering of that rule, then go for it.
Bending that rule to the incredulity.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Very cool. Okay. Well, I think it's close enough for rock and roll. So that's the Space Wolves rules and a little bit of their kind of lore. What do you think? I think I quite enjoyed messing around with the Space Wolves for a bit, to be honest with you.
I think they're good fun.
They'd make a great traitor legion, like Black Shield's thing. I think I'd have a lot of fun with that. But yeah, and it would really annoy Space Wolf players. I think that's probably you said. I'm a traitor Space Wolf.
I must admit, I found it hard to write a list because I'm stuck in a mode of what Space Wolves were before this edition and what they were very much so for 40k. And having played them a lot in 40k, I kind of found myself, and I ended up locking myself into something which I probably shouldn't have done, and ended up with, I'm going to be perfectly honest, the most ineffective list I have done for a very long time.
Well, we shall see. Let us be the judge of that, Mr. B.
I have thoughts on your list, Mr. B, and I'm looking forward to sharing them with you.
It's a terrible list. It's an absolutely god-awful list that I put together.
No spoilers. I found writing the list really easy because their rules point to one thing and one thing only, which is get over the board and smash things. And everything that you can do, if you start to go off that beaten track, then it's probably harder. But I think if you stick to what they're good at, you can make a great list. Yeah. But anyway, let's not talk up our own lists.
I thought they were. I think they're good. I thought I would come out of this thinking, yeah, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do Space Wolves at some point, and I have to do them in some way for a complete terror set. But they've got that rite of war that allows me to sneak them in.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
I still don't. Yeah, I don't know why they just, even after all their beautiful melee deliciousness, I just don't tickle that.
So you would have thought you'd be there.
I know. I'd be right there for it.
I mean, it just might not be. It just might be theme. It might be aesthetics. Everyone's, everyone has different tastes.
I mean, I think although I said I wouldn't, they would literally be at the lowest circle of hell, is where I consider Space Wolves to be. I'm not so sure, to be honest with you. And I kind of thought actually you could have a lot of fun with this army. So and I think there's two things to play here. First of all, actually, it's two video games. Rogue Trader's got a really cool Space Wolf character in it, and God of War Ragnarok has loads of Norse mythology in it, which it's all sort of set around Odin, I think, and whatnot.
Because they have that Norse connection, it's very hard for them not to be
kind
cool,
of appeals,
because a lot of the Norse mythology is super cool, and also a lot of it is fairly prevalent in our society these days because of things like a certain superhero movie franchise.
There is that, of course,
and
programs like Vikings.
Yeah, exactly.
And like films like Northman,
and they're all cool things. The Vikings are always cool.
Yeah, I mean, they were pretty horrible.
No, I'm not saying they were good. I'm just saying that they are.
I'm just they were pretty horrible. I think historically, but then who wrote that history? Well, all the monks who were getting raided every week by loads of Scandinavian chaps with big axes. So I can understand why they may have been slightly biased in their viewpoint.
I think they're super cool in terms of they say what they can do. Yeah, I aggressively. I'm about to make one of the possibly most controversial statements ever been made on this show.
Blimey, that's gonna be serious.
Okay. I think it's a lot of air quotes for those of you listening, alpha bros that love Space Wolves because they love that alpha bro mentality.
There is some alpha broness there, I won't deny it, but blimey, that is controversial. I expect I'll let them. I mean, you might as well be controversial in this game, right? Because at least then you generates likes.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So I'm sure it's not the case, but you know what I mean. It's just they have that vibe.
Interestingly enough, I am kind of more drawn to Skyra's Dark Wolves. I mean, fantastic, right? So I think this was a 40k thing, but it started as a Black Shields company, I think, in the Heresy. Something along those lines would be very cool. And so, I think I would probably do them that way.
Yeah.
Because I think they would be a nice, cool thing to have. I like the army list, and I like the idea of a sort of set of rugged Viking chaps going around, completely just causing absolute carnage. That kind of appeals more to me. It appeals more to me than World Eaters.
Yeah. Between those two, I would definitely take Wolves every day of the week.
Nice. All right, cool. Well, anyway, let's see how we did with our lists.
Yeah, indeed. I'll just where have I put it? I seem to have lost everything today. Okay, this challenge, always fun. Right. Again, I'll just to Chris. Chris was supposed to introduce this part.
That's right, Mr. B. Ladies and gentlemen, if you had 2 as your betting for how many things Mr. B is going to crash for me, we're up to 2.
I'm having a night.
That's okay, Mr. B. Still love you. Right, let's challenge, ladies and gentlemen, your favourite part of the show. If you're new to the show, you've got 9 years of episodes to catch up on, and if you go do that now and catch up, you'll understand all the rules. If you're not that interested, we'll go through the rules again. We each come up with a list on a particular theme. Space Wolves is that theme for this week. We judge it on a number of criteria. The criteria being battlefield effectiveness, fun to play with and against, and how much it costs. So my brain just completely froze there.
Completely froze there. Do you need a reboot?
What's the third thing? Yes. And how much in English pounds it would cost you to physically buy the models for this and make that army. Those are the criteria. Who wants to go first with
me? I would like to. I would honestly like to request to get mine over and done with.
Get it over and done with, Mr. B.
That is literally how I feel. Because here's the problem with me. With me and Space Wolves, the lists I've always done are drop pods. For me, the relationship between Space Wolves and drop pods is like that best mate from school who married your sister. Although that, yeah. So
very close.
Very close. It's a good relationship. And so that's what I went with. I went with a drop pod assault list. And I went with drop pod assault.
You did. Ignore,
okay. I was just looking. I was like, did I change my list at some point? It wouldn't surprise me if I have actually changed my list at some point. So I'm just going to quickly go over to the thing here. So I'm facing the microphone, not looking at the screen with it on. I've gone with a caster of runes as my centurion, as one of my choices there, and he is with a. I thought I changed my. Oh no, I'm looking at the other one here. I'm looking at the old one here. I'll just move my screen onto the other screen, so I look at it and still get my microphone because where have I lost it? Now I've made it too small. Okay, so I'm starting with a. All right, we'll go from the top. A Jarl. A for rune armor, because Themey, hand flamer, great frostblade, which is mastercrafted. I thought that's canny good. That it's not. It's rubbish. I don't. Why did I take a hand flamer? I just thought it'd be cool.
Because you had 2 points left.
Yeah,
that's the only reason I could.
Pretty much. It just sounded cool. Then we've got the caster of runes. No extras on him, and he's accompanied by a squad of Deathsworn. And
no upgrades on the Deathsworn. Just
no upgrades. Dreadclaw drop plod. I think power axes are not that bad. I think they are. I got a Contemptor Dreadnought it should be in a drop pod. Dreadnought drop pod.
Okay.
Yeah, missing 100 points there. Dreadnought drop pod. And he's got a he should have a Chain Fist and a Gravis Las Cannon. I think. Did I? Yeah, maybe I'm looking at my list and I think they're wrong slightly. Maybe I screwed up. I don't know. I thought I did. Okay, so we've got Grey Slayers. 2 identical squads of Grey Slayers, and they are they've got the Huskarl has a frost axe, the Huskarl has a plasma pistol and melter bombs and artificer armor, combat shields, 10 Fenrisian axes, and a Vexelia, and they're in a Dreadclaw. Are they in Dreadclaw? Was it drop pod? No, they're in Dreadclaw. Yes, I want the Dreadclaw because I want the assault. Then we've got a Despoiler squad who are Inducti, 20-man Inducti squad with combat shields and Fenrisian axes and a Legion Vexelia because it looks cool. It looks cool. This is the whole aim. 2 Grey Stalkers with a Huskarl. These are identical squads. Huskarl has a frost axe, melter bombs. We have 6 Fenrisian axes, 2 combi melters, 1 melter gun, and a Vexelia. and these are both in drop pods. So, yep. And then we have in heavy support 2 Deathstorm drop pods, because I just think it's cool. Drop down your Deathstorm drop pod and turn 1, fire these missiles. They do absolutely nothing against vehicles, which, they look cool. A Charybdis, which is what the Inducti are going to go in with the Praetor. This is going to be terrible. As I said, terrible. And a Fire Raptor with the heavy bolters and Tempest rockets. And that's my list.
Yeah, you weren't wrong.
It's terrible. It is absolutely terrible. I love it, but it's terrible. It has no ability to take out vehicles, aside from like a couple of melter guns.
But I just think you fell into the Herskell trap of let's give him everything, because you've got sergeants rocking around with
I did
like 40
points of.
Yeah.
I know I started down a route and I kept going down it, and I didn't sit back. And realistically, what I should have done was completely is instead of this will do. This looks cool. This is great. Yeah, 40, 60 charging maniacs coming out, and I should have said no, and I should have reassessed from the beginning. And I went, nope, I'm going with this. I'm committing to it. And really what I should have done when I started seeing, hey, this isn't going to work, was go back and say, no, it doesn't work. I need to start again. I need to get out of the headset of Space Wolves equals drop pods. It's stuck in my...
I also say that Dreadclaws aren't assault vehicles, by the way.
Oh, they know.
The Dreadclaws aren't.
No. Okay, yeah.
Just to add further one to that whole thing, yeah. Deep Strike, unless Dreadnought transport, it means they can take a Dreadnought. Internal Guidance System, Heat Blast, they are not assault vehicles. They used to be, not anymore.
But they're not anymore. That's always the problem with them.
The Charybdis is, but that's a serious investment.
Yeah.
That was like I as I said, I fell into a trap of Space Wolves equals.
So what was your plan with this against a sort of Sons of Horus type army, which is, which has got a mixture of stuff?
Honestly, blood for the blood god. There is no plan here. It is that bad. As I said, I went down a route and I was like, this is what I'm going to do.
I don't know why I took Grey Stalkers instead of just all Grey Slayers.
Wanted the melter guns.
Okay.
As I said,
why not take a 10-man Legion support squad? You can take that, can't you? With melter guns. I got drop podding them in. I could get behind.
Well, that's what I mean. I got stuck into this of specific units, Legion specific units, and it's a trap. People have gone down it before.
I've gone down Admiral Akbard, basically.
Yeah, I Akbard. It just happens.
For me, it's just the 100 points of upgrades on guys that are.
I felt I did something which we tell people not to do. Don't invest in stuff that doesn't.
Yeah, and I'd also say that we've broken our semi-unwritten rule of not putting artificer armor on troop choices, because that's naughty now. Frowned upon. In my book of morals.
No, it is. A lot of people are like saying, don't take assault, don't take artificer armor, it spoils the game. It does to a degree.
I don't take it because the temptation is to use it. And that, I think you think, oh, you know what, I'm just going to tank all these on my sergeant. And of course you do. And then, it's somebody's poor AP3 thing, just like, oh man.
If someone can get in contact with me and help me figure out how I can do this, how I can do a drop pod list that doesn't suck, I would.
Don't spend 100 points on frost. That's
artificer
armor.
Yeah, that's one thing.
I think the way to do it is to overwhelm, but most people are going to have at least one unit, maybe with a augury scanner, right? But not everybody is, because it's one of those things where people have stopped doing it, so people have stopped taking the counter for it. So you might get away with it, but I think overwhelming the defenses is you have to basically accept the fact that you're going to lose maybe 2 units on the way down, but what you've got left should be enough to deal with whatever.
Yeah, I mean, this is, as I said, when it comes to, I've said it before, Space Wolves, and it's the best friend that married your sister.
Okay.
Although in my case, my sister got married to my dad's best friend, although he is age appropriate, I should say.
Does he play Space Wolves?
No, he actually runs women's German touring cars. He used to be a mechanic for McLaren.
There we go. Yeah. Very cool. All right.
He's a cool dude.
Shall I go next, or do you want to go next?
You go next.
Okay, go on in. Just bring it up.
Oh, yeah. Where's my screen gone? Sorry, I need to put this in a better place. There we go, Graham.
Lovely. So I've gone for this all kind of synergies together. The idea with it behind this army is basically get up the board, get in the face, and start hacking away. So I've gone for a very melee focused army because I think that's the best synergy with Space Wolves by a long way. So I've gone for a Cataphracti Praetor. He has got he's the Jarl upgrade, and he's got a great Frostblade. Of course, we talked about it earlier, it being a super AP2 initiative +2 strength. I mean, there is an argument that, maybe a Paragon Blade plus Thunderhammer might be a better combo, but I thought I'd keep with the theme and keep the points down a little bit. He's going with a Cataphracti command squad. So I've got the normal guys +2 additional. And it's 300 Thunderhammers and 2 paired lightning bolts. Could have used some other things, but I think those are a good combo. And they've got a Land Raider Proteus. So the idea is that he and the Cataphracti squad jump in the back of the Proteus, which is going to be one of my main kind of shooting things. I've given the Proteus the pintle-mounted multi-melter, which is a good upgrade, I think. Particularly dealing to things like dreadnoughts for one shot, or even taking out tanks if they get too close. And the searchlights as well is another good thing to put on a Land Raider because it can shoot at multiple things because of machine spirit. Means you can searchlight up a number of targets. I've then gone for a caster of runes as a Centurion, and he's got the Wind of Fenris, of course. Again, super useful thing. He would probably go with, again, I've got a little bit of flexibility with him here. He could go with the Deathsworn, which is coming up, or I could put him with the Greyslayer squad, or I could put him with the command squad, although that would mean they would lose the heavy, because obviously everybody's in Cataphracti. But that 3+ shrouded is pretty damn useful. So it might be more of a Greyslayer thing than a Deathsworn thing, because my next Centurion, no surprises, is the Speaker of the Dead. And I've given him a greater Frostblade as well, because he can. So yeah, quite expensive, but again, 5+ Feeling of Pain plus Hatred and Leadership 10 makes him super useful. And he's going with the aforementioned squad of Deathsworn. So I've gone for additional 5. So I've gone for a big squad of these guys, 10 of these. 2 of them have got great Frost Blades. Again, AP2, loveliness. 2 of them have got Power Fists. And they've all got Melter Bombs. And weirdly enough, normally I steer clear of Melter Bombs because they're super expensive. But for some reason, for a 10-man squad of Deathsworn, it's only 20 points, which is just such a bargain. 2 points a model. It's incredible. So yeah, I mean, you run up to a dreadnought, all right, he's going to give you a slap, but he's going to get 10 Melter Bombs in the chops. And he's not going to like that. So they're going to be one of my heavy hitting squads, particularly with the, now I could put the Caster of Runes in there to give them a 3+ shrouded, but they would have got a 5+ Feeling of Pain. So we shall see. And again, I've put them in a Land Raider Proteus. So rather than using Spartans, which are quite expensive, I've kind of gone down the Proteus carrier route. And again, pintle mounted multi-melter can shoot the nearest target and searchlights. So quite a lot in the HQ. Mm-hmm. And then there's no elites, it's straight onto the troops here, which is 3 classic identical squads of Grey Slayers, or 2 identical squads and 1 slightly different one. Again, Grey Slayers being, so awesome here. The I think I've gone for, I can't remember what the Warlord trait is. I've gone for the Bloodied Claw Rite of War.
Which is a Groundbreaker.
And I've gone for the Crownbreaker, yeah. because I want that squad, that Cataphracti squad, to be hunting the enemy's HQ choices, independent characters. So that would be their job. The Deathsworn would be going in to deal with anything else that I think might be a little bit tasty. But their 2+ save, 5+ feel no pain should serve them pretty well, and they should be able to deal with most things, albeit they're going to take a few wounds because of their normal weapons are unwieldy. So anyway, 2 troop choices, Grey Slayer squads. So I've gone for 6 additional Grey Slayers in 2 of the squads. So that gives you a total of 16. They've all got 10 of them have got Fenrisian axes.
Yep.
We talked about how good these are. 2 of them have got power lances. I'm a big convert to power lances recently. 2 of them have got power mauls. Again, a convert on this one because the +2 strength AP3 power lance reach 1, I think. So I could get a couple of snicker stacks in there before anybody fights back, hopefully. And 2 power swords for the rending. And I've got two of those, and they've got combat shields. So yeah, the whole squad, 2 of those are absolutely identical. And Grey Slayer squad, same again, but I've gone for a slightly different loadout. 5 additional guys, 2 power lances and 3 power swords for that one. So a pretty solid lot of troops. The idea is that they're going to be using their running up the board trick, getting into the business end of things, early doors, putting some pressure on the enemy or grabbing objectives, whatever happens to be nearest. And then fast attack, I've gone for a little bit of shooting with the javelin to provide some support to the charging troops. So I've gone for a javelin with multi-melter and twin las cannons, or 2 las cannons rather, which is a pretty good loadout, and they are quite useful, quick to get up the board. I could possibly get around the side of any big tanks with that, or deal with anything along those lines that I want to sort of cause bother behind enemy lines. And then for heavy support, I've gone for some big heavy hitters, slightly slower than the rest of the army, but that's kind of deliberate. So I've gone for a Leviathan Talon of 2 Leviathans. They've both got the Siege Claw, which is the brutal 3-1, and they've both got storm cannons. Storm cannons are great. I think they're rending 5s, quite a few shots. Not a terrible range, 24, but they can dish it out. So good combination. I've gone for 2 Phosphex discharges as well, short range, but AP2 blast. Absolutely awesome. And they've got the Volkite calibers in the chest area. So again, that's a pretty shooty combo. So they're there to sort of provide that shooting thing, but also get involved in the melee. The Land Raiders have to sort of be targeting other big transports potentially. But the idea is that everybody goes forward, troop choices going forward, getting on objectives. Everything else is shooting, but with a view to be charging turn 2. And then I would use my bloody claw thing to give us a load of bonuses and go from there. So that's the plan. And that is me.
Nice. I think it's a solid list. The only thing is, I suppose, it's... I'm trying to think. I don't know, Shiv, is there a thing?
What's your concern here? Because I'm sure there are plenty. And
Terminators, sort of dealing with Terminator squads is kind of my concern.
Yeah, I mean, I guess
it's not a huge amount of AP2. You've got the Thunderhammers.
The Deathsworn have got Floss Braids and Power Fists. So yeah, they would probably be where I would throw those guys, or I would use my other command squad. But even depending on the size of the squad, the Grey Slayers could overwhelm them with just the sheer number of attacks.
That's true.
It wouldn't be the ideal choice. And a Leviathan, depending on what they're loaded out with, may be able to tank one for a turn.
Yeah. The Leviathans make a big difference, because I think without those, Dreadnoughts would be a real issue.
Yeah, absolutely. If something rocks up with 3 Contemptors, you'd be like, you could try and just Grey Slayer them out of the game, but again, I wouldn't necessarily want to do that because they are my scoring units.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, the command squad is also a scoring unit as well, to bear in mind, because they've got the standard.
Nice.
So yeah, but I think I might struggle if somebody had like 2 Spartans with flare shields, for example.
Yeah, I mean that's to be fair, not
that's
a situation that a lot of people are going to struggle with.
Yeah, I haven't. Yeah, I mean, I'd be kind of relying on the javelin to try and sneak round and try and do it over, or it gets close enough to my land raiders that I can put a multi-melter onto it and pray for a 5 on the damage table.
To be fair, that's not a bad strategy, because javelins are. Sorry, sneeze there. Javelins are massively underutilized. Again, I think this is because there isn't a plastic model.
Yeah. I mean, they're 105 points, right? And but you would be happy to sacrifice 105 points if you could pop a Spartan on the side. I think also the Death Sworn with 10 melter bombs would take a Spartan charge as well. So there are some options there, but they're not as straightforward as. I mean, if you're going against the gun line, you're going to struggle because there's a lot of troops and a lot of things that can go bang. But you might be lucky enough to get in a position where you get a number of units charging turn 2.
I mean, you've got 2 land raiders on the board. They're going to be checking up their last cannons. So
absolutely.
Yeah, it's nice.
Cool.
I like it.
Okay, shall we head on over to Chris's list? So just hit the right buttons here. There we go.
Okie dokie. So, Bloody Claw, because why wouldn't you? I took the Hunger of the Void.
Is that the other one-shot one, is it? Which one's that one? That's the
every turn I can get a wound back if I take.
Oh, yes. You can power up your warlord.
My Tartarus Praetor. With Great Frostblade. He's a Jarl, and I had 5 points kicking around at the end, so I stuck a grenade harness on him.
Why not? You could have given him a hand flamer as well.
That's 2 points. Those 2 points. Oh, I know. I was thinking. I didn't actually think about the hand flamer.
Speaker of the Dead could have taken. Mind you, Great Frostblade is a 2-handed weapon, so I don't know how that works.
I don't know how it works, but anyway. Yes. I then have a Tartarus Centurion. Speaker of the Dead, Great Frostblade. He has a retinue of 10 Death Swarm.
Yeah, we've gone for a similar thing there, haven't we?
Yeah.
You've gone for rad grenades rather than melter bombs because you can either or,
because I wanted I wanted everything. I wanted the Thunderhammer and the Great Frostblades and the Power. I would basically want to have as many instant death attacks as possible. So that's why I went with that makeup. So I've got 6 Power Axes, 1 Great Frostblade, 1 Thunderhammer, 2 Power Fists. Just as a little bit of variety. I then, in my Elite's choice, I've got a 8-man Tartarus Terminator squad, 4 Thunderhammers, one of which is on the Sergeant, and 2 pairs of Lightning Claws and 2 Power Mauls.
Okay.
And a Vexilla.
Yep.
I then have a single Contemptor Dreadnought with a Power Fist, Chain Fist, a Plasma Blaster in one fist, and a Melter Gun in the other.
Yeah.
And then a 3-man Apothecary detachment.
Nice.
Yeah. All with Fenrisian axes. One of them has a Warhawk jump pack.
Okay.
Because,
I've
got a standard to maintain. So then I get on to my 3 troops choices.
Yep.
I have 2 Grey Slayer squads that are identical, which is Lightning Claws on the... so 5 additional in each one. Herstal has got Lightning Claws, 4 Power Mauls, 1 Power Axe, 10 Fenrisian Axes, Combat Shields, and a Vexilla.
Tom Cobley and all.
That's it. And there's an identical unit to that as well.
Yeah.
And then I have an assault squad of 15 with 3 Power Mauls, Fenrisian Axes on everybody else, and Combat Shields, and the Sergeant has got a Melter Bomb.
Nice.
I then have a Sky Hunter squadron of 4. They all have Fenrisian Axes, and they all have multi-alters.
I could use Sky Hunters, of course. They could.
I then, in my heavy support choice, is have a Land Raider Spartan with a flare shield and searchlights, and a Land Raider Proteus with searchlights.
No.
And that's my 2,998 points.
Gotcha.
I think that's a handful in there somewhere.
The only thing I'm curious about is why did you take a Terminator squad in the elites when you could have taken them as a retinue and got the line?
Because I wanted more of them.
Fine. Well, no, you can take 10, can't you?
In a
command squad. No, I don't think you can. I think you're limited to 5.
5 is the max.
On Terminators, I think it is, yeah.
Yeah.
Might well be.
Terminator Command Squad. Up to 2 additional Legion Cataphracti chosen.
And it's space free, isn't it?
So, yeah. Which brings it up to 5 in total. And I wanted more Terminators.
More of that. Yeah.
More of that than I can get.
It's a better balance. They're both better balanced lists than mine.
It functions largely the same as yours, is get everything forward as quickly as possible. I took the Spartan and the Proteus as heavy support choices because I didn't want them tied to particular units at the start of the game.
That makes sense.
That does give you some flexibility if you've got the support slots to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Apothecaries, obviously, because I want those troop choices to maintain as many people on there as possible.
Yeah.
Sky Hunters are there with the tanks to provide some anti-armor. The Dreadnoughts just there to punch other Dreadnoughts. Tartarus and the Death Swan are there to deal with anything that's potentially a bit ouchy in terms of infantry. But yeah, to get everything forward.
Nice.
Punch / kill, main, burn to use the other World Eaters.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yep.
No. Okay, cool.
They're both nicely balanced lists. And I think they stand a better chance than any of mine. Okay, brilliant.
Okay, let's get into the scores and the doors then.
Yes, let's do that. So I'll just take off this.
I could also, just with my list, I could have taken the Death Sworn I took as a retinue for this particular list, but they could easily just be a normal elite choice.
Yeah.
Which would free up the Speaker of the Dead to join the Terminator squad with the Praetor. Because because I'm a jerk, basically.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm going to be perfectly honest. I will take myself out of running for fun to play with and effectiveness, because it's not going to be effective.
You can absolutely 100% take yourself out of effectiveness because it's not going to be.
I just think my opinion is on why I will take out fun to play with or against. Is I suppose it would be fun to play against because you'd just be like, yeah, I'm winning this game. But fun to play with, you'd probably just be like, oh my God, why did I do this?
It'd be a challenge.
Yeah. And I don't think there's anything fun in a list that you sit and you go, I'm going to win this game, because you want there to be an element of challenge.
No.
You want there to be an element of risk.
I kind of had that in a game that I played the other week when I played Dave, and he had a Last of the Serrated Sun list, and it was literally it's a drop pod list, but it is not drop pod assault. You are rolling for everything, and you are not necessarily coming in until you aren't coming in turn 2 guaranteed. So he failed to bring. He has, I think it was 4 reserve rolls, and he didn't bring a single thing on. And it was literally, I'm sitting there and I'm like, I could win this game in this turn. I can delete everything off the table and win. And I'm like, that would be great for my ego, but it's going to be a rubbish game. And it was not, it didn't feel fun, the idea of winning in that game. So that's, I'm saying I'm with you on that one. He beat me in the end, because of course he did. Gal back with Argyle Tal and yeah.
I think for fun to play with or against.
Fun to play with against and theme, I guess. I think there's not a lot in it between myself and Chris's armies, because they're both doing the same thing. But they are both also meeting what the Space Wolves are good at, I think.
I feel torn on this one. Because I know I'm going to essentially be the decider on this one, but I don't know which one to go with. They're both really good lists. They're both for what they do. I just don't know how to pick between them.
Well, that's going to be a problem, Mr. B, because you gotta.
I know. Let me pull up the folder again, and I'm going to have a look because this is a tough one. I'm going to take a quick look at the lists again, but this is really tough. You have both got lists that I think there's a what's the phrase? A tab paper between them.
Yeah.
Okay, so Chris,
terrible people.
Though they're not bad lists. They're not bad lists. They're pretty good.
I think Graham, because he has the Cast of Runes in there, and being able to make stuff much more difficult to, for me to shoot at range. I think I don't have that trick up my sleeve in return. My apothecaries are not going to be as useful as I want them to be, probably.
I'm going to go with Graham. And the reason I'm going with Graham is I think, first of all, that naughty Leviathan talent.
Those Leviathans, they're just going to cause.
It's going to be an absolute nightmare to deal with. But mostly, I think the javelins, 2 multi-melters. A multi-melter.
It's only one javelin. So.
Yeah, it's the one javelin.
Yeah, whereas Chris has got
I think that's
4 multi-melters.
Yeah, but
I know what you mean. But I get your point.
I think you also start a little bit more
between mine and. So in terms of, bear in mind we've got fun to play with, fun to play against first. Which we haven't decided yet, and we might have to just say that they're very similar lists that have the same idea, and fundamentally it's got to be a draw or we scrub it. In terms of effectiveness, the Leviathans may just tip it, but I think Chris has got more chance of doing that, get up the board and cause bother with the Sky Hunters than I have with the Javelin.
I honestly think
there's more ablative wounds there. That's the thing.
I think I really do think it's going to depend on the dice rolls, who you're playing. It's a hard one because they are very similar. Yeah, who's going to get turn 1? It's all that kind of thing. It's very difficult to say who's going to be the most effective. I think effectiveness, it would be Graham. But here's the thing: we're fun to play against and with.
Hey, look, you found an extra point that I couldn't find to spend. So I think, for maximization of resources,
fun to play against and with. I think I would have more fun playing with Chris's list, but might have more fun playing against Graham's list. If that makes any sense.
I'm happy to go with Chris's.
I think I'm going to have to go with Chris. So I'm going to have to give you one each.
Yeah,
it's going to come down to how much it's going to cost.
Yeah.
That's what it's going to come down to.
It is, and it really is. And I hate, the phrase. It's a tab paper between you on terms of on both sections. So I think one each is fair. Okay, cost.
I mean, they're very, very similar. We both have the same idea.
We both approached it with the same vim and figure.
And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just we sometimes, we need to start thinking differently. Maybe
I tried that and I got shouted at. So
no. What I mean by thinking differently is that a lot of our lists, especially yours two, sometimes all three of us, but especially you two, you are approaching things from very similar angles. And maybe we need to mix things. Maybe we need to.
One way. They aren't that flexible.
Maybe we need to mix things up by drawing lots for which rite of war.
So I mean, it's just the fact that it's a melee army, so there's only you're straight away. Your objective is to get into the other person.
Yeah.
It's things you can't ignore in this list. Grey Slayers. Grey Slayers, Speaker of the Dead. You can't ignore those units because they are all it includes. Deathspawn is super useful. Yeah. There are certain things that are just going to be there.
It's a hard one. Anyway. Cost.
All comes down to cost.
Mine was super cheap.
Go on then. Yours is going to be super cheap. I'll just
740 quid, and that kind of includes a £50 plus for the upgrades and all the rest.
To be fair, both of these lists are going to be quite cheap.
Wow. So, how much is that?
Everything's plastic in Chris's. I've got the Javelin, which was resin.
So. If before having to buy any upgrades to make all the Grey Slayers, because
to be honest, I haven't counted any of that because it's again, I think we need to make a rule on this one and just assume people have the melee weapon pack.
Yeah, but including buying the Contemptor torso for my Contemptor Dreadnought.
Oh,
That's how extravagant I was. £683.
oh, not bad.
Crikey.
Yeah.
So even if you took my £50 off for upgrades, I would still be £7 more expensive.
Yeah.
Okay, mine suffered because I
Yeah.
have a lot of resin.
You do, yeah.
I have two Death Storms, which they still sell. I'm surprised by that. 3 Dreadclaws and a Charybdis. And a Dreadnought drop pod. £1,186.50.
Yeah. Yep. I can totally see it. Cool. So there we go. So Chris takes the Space Wolves title.
Space Wolves list.
Yeah. Graham gets effective, Chris gets theme, and Chris gets costs.
Yeah. Very close though.
It was
probably the closest one we've had.
It's a good one. I said tab paper between them. But yeah, maybe we need to start drawing lots for Rite of War or something like that to try and
okay.
I don't know if it just to maybe make us all think a little bit differently by saying, right, you can use any Rite of War, but you can't use this one because he's got this one. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
I think.
But then Chris never uses Rites of War. Hardly ever.
I couldn't ignore the one, and this.
This is true. Yeah, it's true.
Bloody Claw is just such a useful thing to have up your sleeve for an assault army.
Yep.
Yeah.
And you're an assault player, so.
I enjoyed making the list. It was good fun making the list. As I said earlier, I don't want to play a Space Wolves army anytime soon. I think it would just be. I think as we've gone through it, I think what it is it appeals to the worst parts of me in terms of building an assault list.
Yeah, I get that. Totally get that.
So no, I think they're good fun. I think I like them in terms of their rules and what they're built for. They're not messed around at all. They are what they're built for. They haven't definitely. They haven't muddied the water at all. This is an army that will run at you, punch you, claw your face off.
And I think in general they've survived the transition from 1 to 2 a lot better than some other armies did. They kept a lot of what made them effective in the last edition. They got the Grey Slayers and Grey Stalkers. I can't remember because obviously got Grey Hunters in 40k. They really did. I don't know why they split them up. I suppose it was to give 2 units that had a distinct role, a support weapons squad that also did the charging and But yeah, what was I saying? Yeah, no, I think they survived the transition between editions really well. As I said, the only thing that puts me off playing them is that I've had bad experiences with the communities. I like Baby Blue. I like that Baby Blue scheme. All my heresies, the few Space Wolves I've got, I painted in that scheme because I like it. But oh my god, the abuse you get. It's not mechanics standard grey.
Yeah. I think I would, if I played Space Wolves, and it's a big if, but I think I would definitely do them as one of these sort of traitor Black Shields-esque things going on.
So you wouldn't even do them with Space Wolves rules then?
I would. I think I would use Space Wolves.
Okay, fair enough.
But just do them as traitors.
I kind of do fancy doing an assault squad based. The little allied Rite of War. I'm really considering that, and maybe grabbing a couple of assault squads and knocking up something and seeing what I can do with that.
Gotcha.
I think one of the reasons why I sway towards the drop pods as well is because I got absolutely tons of Space Wolves painted drop pods in the attic. I've got like 9 of them, and
yeah.
I mean, do you remember in 40k, what was it? What edition was it? 7th, where you got 3 drop pods. 6th. Was it 6th? Where you got 3 drop pods?
That might have been 7th. Actually,
yeah.
Might have been, with those attachment things.
Yeah, it was attachment. And if you took the best stuff in the codex anyway, you got 3 drop pods.
It's mad.
Crazy.
Right, anyway, let's move on.
Shall we move on? Let's close up the show. apologies, I did it the wrong way round. We put the Patreons first, and the Patreons are going to be there. We'll sort that out for next time. Right. Okay. Cool. And I also lost the music as well, and I don't know why. Okay. Cool. Live production. It's kind of fun, but it's also kind of. I'm not used to this. I'm doing the close, aren't I? Yes.
Yes, you will.
So I haven't disrupted anybody. Yeah. Sorry, guys. I'm just. No. I am. Live production it's interesting moving to it, but maybe I'll do that as a little Patreon thing at some point. Anyway, right, we are done here now. We are closing the show. We'd love to see some reviews on iTunes. You can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. We need to sort out Blue Sky. We've got some Blue Sky accounts sorted, but we need to do something with that. I've been doing this course on social media, so I should probably put some of that into action, keep up my time. But we really need to know that you like us. I mean, I get calls from Graham in the middle of the night. How many Facebook likes have we had today? How many? This is the only validation he gets in life. No one else likes him. We shun him at club. He just sits in the corner crying. This is the only thing he's got.
It's the only validation I get in my entire existence.
I am joking. We are men.
All I ask is for a one.
Doesn't get it for his family.
No, exactly. One view on YouTube. That's all you need to do.
we are men who have been married for a certain number of years. So yeah, we get very little validation.
Yeah, that's true.
If you want to get in touch with us, send us a message on Facebook, post on the wall, or email us at info@edgeofempire.co.uk. We've had a couple of requests for sharing events in the group. And I just want to say, as long as it's local, go for it. Or, as in the UK, yeah, go for it. It's cool. Don't need to ask permission. It's fine. You guys cool with that?
Yeah.
I mean, we all want to roll dice, so if there's events going on, do it. Now, if you want to help out the show, we've got affiliate links. We've got one with Audible, so you can sign up, get your Horus Heresy audiobooks, and through them you get a month free trial. After that, it's $7.99 a month for an audiobook. All the Black Library ones are on there. They've done this thing now where I've been starting to get an every 3 months, and nice, if I spend my credit, I get another credit, which is quite cool. I like that. We also got a Patreon account, as you saw before, in the wrong way. So you can pop a couple of dollars in the tip jar. We're eternally grateful, or even buy us a coffee on Ko-Fi. Again, I don't think anybody's ever used that. I don't know why we have it. I think people were telling us, get one of these, and then they never used it. Now,
I think if you go for Patreon, you've got to kind of sign up for Patreon, whereas with Ko-Fi, you can just go, do you know what? I've spent the last 4 hours listening to these fellas yabber on. That's definitely worth them the same price as a Starbucks. Here, have £3 English or whatever.
Honestly, the money doesn't fund anything extravagant. I basically pay for the hosting for the domain every month, and the
year
thing.
Where we will get to Las Vegas to go to the LVO.
Maybe in a few years' time.
That's the only way that's going to happen, unless
maybe in a few years' time. Maybe in a few years' time. Okay, now you can also help us out. We've got a couple of affiliate links with Element Games and Outpost. These two excellent friendly local gaming stores. I still don't know where the Element Games is opening in Newcastle. That's going to be interesting.
They said it was, but I don't know when it is.
That's hard, because I do love Element Games. They sell some great stuff, but I also like my own local gaming store at Gamers Apart in Hartlepool. So it's one of those things where you're trying to spread the love around. And what's his name up in North Shields? Different Not Less.
Different Not Less, yeah.
Yeah, he's a nice guy as well. Lovely guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. We've got Crystal Code. So if you do use Element Games, which I appreciate, if you're not in the Northeast, probably better off using Element Games. We've got Crystal Codes, CHR211 for Chris. Graham's is GRA2794. And mine is MIC440. We'll put them in the show notes as well, along with a link. And as I said, Outpost, great store as well. And that's about it. So next time we're going to be back with what's going on in the world. Me and Graham will have a report from, what's the event called?
Computer Legends.
I got a couple of messages again about that. I'll talk to you again tomorrow about it. But it's mad. You get them all the time, but yeah, no, it's we have a fun time. Heresy Camp. Yeah, that's what we've been calling it. I think it's actually got a name, the Pale Stars or something.
Pale Stars, yeah.
But we've just been calling it Heresy
War
Camp.
From the Pale Stars, I think. I thought it was called Heresy Camp, to be honest with you, but I could be wrong.
I've always been calling it Camp. It's fine. It's great.
We'll give a review of that. See how that goes.
Run down our lists.
That's we're doing that.
It's going to be fun. So I played quite a few games this month, so I've got lots to report back.
Yeah.
So. And is that the police down your end, Chris?
No, I think it's around my way, which is rare.
I wish I could say the same for mine. But anyway, that's been a great time. We will see you all later. And Nonite from, well, I mean, I'm not sure how to say goodnight. You know what? I was watching Batman, the 1966 series, and you know how they sign off with that?
Everybody.
Same bat time, same bat channel.
Nice, I like that. Right, laters, taters.
Love and snuggles, everybody.
So that's what I was waiting for.